University welcome you all to this much awaited international conference on fourth industrial revolution based technology and practices. And for this, we would like to thank our associate partners, Uttarakhand Technical University, TEQ IP3, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Technological University, Science and Engineering Research Board, SERB India, IEEE, and Uttarakhand State Council for Science and Technology, UCOST, Dehradun. In our Indian culture and tradition, no ceremony or event is considered complete without the blessings of Goddess Saraswati, Goddess of wisdom and knowledge. So let's pray to Goddess Saraswati to bless us with wisdom and make our efforts fruitful.
Creativity by the students of university.
Voice is missing. Voice is missing, I think.
Bless us all, Goddess Saraswati. Now, bless us, Goddess Saraswati. So now, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our honorable guests and eminent speakers. So I welcome Honorable Chairman and Chancellor, Quantum University, and Chief Patron for today's conference, Mr. Ajay Goel, Honorable Pro-Chancellor, Quantum University, and Co-Chief Patron for today's conference, Mr. Praveen Garg, Honorable Vice Chairman, Quantum University, Secretary, LMD Education and Research Foundation, Dehradun, and Co-Chief Patron, Engineer Shobhit Goel, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Quantum University, Patron and Technical Chair, Professor Dr. Vivek Kumar, Honorable Dean, Quantum School of Technology, Dr. Gulshan Chauhan, Honorable Dean, Quantum School of Business, Dr. Rakesh Premi, Honorable Senior Members of Advisory Board, Professor Avdesh Khare and Professor K.K. Pandey. Our eminent speakers for today's session, Professor Dr. Eg Radhan, Professor Dr. Valentina Emilia Balas, and Professor Francisco Benedito, our dedicated faculty members and dear students. Fourth industrial revolution in manufacturing brings a whole new perspective to the industry, which can collaborate with new technologies to get maximum output with minimum resource utilization in manufacturing. The goal of the conference is to bring insights of digital transformation of the industry. The change is based on the adoption of new technologies, machine learning, IoT, and artificial intelligence. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I now have the honor of inviting Honorable Vice Chancellor, Quantum University, Professor Dr. Vivek Kumar, for an inaugural speech. Please, sir.
Good morning, all. Respected Professor E.G. Radhan, Professor of Signal Processing, President, Pentagram Research Center Private Limited. Professor Valentina Emilia Balas, Senior Executive of IEEE and Director of the Department of International Relations, Program and Project, and Head of Intelligent System Research Center, Romania. Professor Francisco Benedito, Chair of IEEE Definition and Concept of Dynamic Spectrum Access Associate Editor, IEEE Access, Editor of IEEE, Honorable Chairman, Mr. J. Goyal, another management representatives, Professor Eg Khare, Advisor, Quantum University, respected directors, Dr. Gulshan Chauhan and Dr. Rakesh Premi, research scholars who have been assembled from 17 countries, including Canada, USA, South Africa, China, Nepal, Bhutan, India, and many other countries. Respected faculty members of Quantum University and other universities, and most beloved, our young students who will be witnessing, the growth of fourth industrial revolution based technologies and practices in industry and in education. Dear audience, today's conference we propose in 2020, but because of the COVID situation, actually it is the first international conference or IEEE conference since the inception of Quantum University. So I was personally very much excited to conduct this physically. But unfortunately, COVID-19 did not permit us, and especially in the interest of the health of the people, government did not permit us. I was again very excited, say in January and February, that I will be conducting this physically at the end of the March. But unfortunately, again, in India, the rising curve of COVID-19 does not permit us to conduct this physically. But I am not disappointed because I have already requested IEEE to have the next version of the conference in 2021-22, and I am hopeful that we all are going to gather again in the series of this conference physically at Quantum University, Roorkee. Because my foreign friends are there, it's an opportunity to me to introduce Quantum University. We started Quantum University in 2018 with the sound principle of IR 4.0. We are having different programs which are based on IR 4.0. For example, our BTech programs not in computer science, they are in cyber security, they are in artificial intelligence, they are in IoT, they are in electric vehicle technologies, they are in mechatronics, they are in robotics. So we have developed the synergy to start with the IR 4.0 technologies in Quantum University from day one. Similarly, when we talk about the agriculture, when we talk about the management, when we talk about any other discipline, in most of the places, we are teaching our students the modern techniques. For example, through the interdisciplinary courses. For example, in agriculture, we are more focusing on the smart agriculture, that is the use of IoTs and other devices to increase the yield of agriculture products. Similarly, in management, we are trying to incorporate computers and artificial intelligence in our studies, in our case studies, in our projects, so that the student should be equipped to face the challenge of IR 4.0, where in 2024 onwards, when they will go really in the market. The objective of this conference, Fourth Industrial Revolution based technology and practices, I personally feel that this is a sublimation of interdisciplinary approach, and 4.0, IR 4.0 is not only one technology, it is a combination, it's a bouquet of many technologies altogether. As a professor of computer science and professor of artificial intelligence, I have understood this thing that yes, Industrial Revolution 4.0 will be the future of world, and we will be basically getting all the benefits. I'm not discussing the boons. I'm just discussing, the benefit part of it. So these are going to be, we will be sitting on the platform of IR 4.0 very soon in India, in China, in US, in many other Europe, and rest of the world. So today's conference, the outcome of the conference will be, we will try that how we are moving forward towards, the development of IR 4.0. These 2 days, more than 300 papers came, and my screening committee has screened only 50 papers. And out of these 50 papers, roughly around 27 papers worth mentioning that they are real good papers, in which few papers are of space technologies, few papers are based on, the medical wellness, few papers are based on, using artificial intelligence in various engineering aspects, manufacturing aspects, and many other domains in which IR 4.0 will definitely explore and flourish in future. I have requested my organizing team that these 27 papers will be published in Scopus Index Journal in their extended versions. And very soon we will come with a special edition of one reputed Scopus Index Journal also, which has already given consent to publish these papers. So I pray God that these 2 days and many more days to come, IR 4.0 will be working for mankind, human, environment issues, space issues, and many more places. And this will make our human race more advanced and happy and satisfying. I congratulate all the organizers, as well as I give my best wishes to all the organizers and the researchers and the presenters and dear students, because we are having IEEE student section also, in which there is a poster presentations. So I give my best of luck to all the participants, keynote speakers, guest speakers, industrialists, students, teachers, everyone. And I pray God that this conference is a great success. Thank you very much. And Jai Hind. Over to Vaibhav. Over to Vaibhav.
Thank you, sir, for your kind and motivational words. Thank you, sir, for your kind and motivational words. As it is rightly said by Daniel Bell, technology, like a creative art, is a soaring exercise of the human imagination. Cognitive Thank you, sir, for your kind and motivational words. It is rightly said by Mr. Daniel Bell, technology, just like a creative art, is a soaring exercise of the human imagination. Technology, a creative art, is a soaring exercise of the human. Cognitive computing. Human thinking is beyond imagination. Can a computer develop such ability? to think and reason without human intervention? This is something programming experts at IBM Watson are trying to achieve. Their goal is to simulate human thought process in a computerized model. The result is cognitive computing, a combination of cognitive science and computer science. And to discuss this in detail, today we have an eminent speaker and expert with us. So now it's my honor to introduce Professor Dr. Eg Radhan, who will deliver a talk on cognitive computing. Professor Dr. Eg Radhan, BSc DMIT, ME, PhD, FIE, is the founder president of the Pentagram Research Center Private Limited, Hyderabad in India. He is an electronics engineer and a professor of signal processing, having about 42 years of experience in teaching, research, and administration. He has a number of publications to his credit. He has been a professional member of ACM and an editor of the Journal of AMA, Royal Academy of Doctors, Barcelona, Spain. He received his PhD degree in electrical engineering, signal and image processing from Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Kanpur, UP. ME degree in applied electronics from Madras University, the then famous DMIT in electronics engineering from the Madras Institute of Technology, Crumpet, Madras, and BA degree in physics from Madras University. His contributions to the state of the art of electronic warfare and support measures has been well recognized in the government and industrial sectors. He was a noted teacher in the Department of Electrical Engineering of the Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. He received Distinguished Scientist and Man of the Millennium Award from Who is Who Bibliographical Records, Cambridge 2000. He authored many books like Symbolic Computing, Signal and Image Processing, Electronic Order of Battle Records of Military Radars, Computers and Information Technology, and Foundations of Information Technology. He is the father of a novel paradigm symbolic computing in the framework of Markov's constructive mathematical logic. His contribution to computer vision, pattern recognition, modeling, and simulation, artificial intelligence, and machine learning could be seen in his research publications. 2 of his 65 PhD scholars were involved in the design of digital circuits using organic molecules, and some of them are working in the area of big data analytics pertaining to genome database, biometrics database, medical database like MRI and CT scan, imageries of breast cancer, geospatial databases, and multispectral satellite imageries and subsurface, 3-dimensional radargrams obtained using ground-penetrating radars. He has brought out more than 25 patentable concepts. One such concept is codon space, which advocates the theory of life forms as subspaces of the information space called codon space. Another concept is a mathematical transform, which goes by his name as Radhan transform. On November 15, 2015, he was awarded the prestigious Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Gold Medal for his lifetime achievement in teaching, research, industrial development, and corporate social responsibility. So we are extremely honored to have with us Professor Dr. Eg Radhan, and I would like to invite him to deliver a talk on cognitive computing. Please, sir.
Before starting, sir, I would like to inform that roughly around 400 students are sitting in the seminar hall, and your lecture is being communicated to them. It's being projected very soon. We are going to give you the image and videos of these seminar halls also. Please, sir, over to you.
Yeah, Jnananandamaya Devam Nirmala Spatikakratim Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Hayagrivam Upasmati. At the outset, I thank humbly the organizers of this conference, especially my dear daughter, Dr. Aditi Sharma, who had contacted me a couple of years back, and now it has realized. The concept of cognitive computing took birth in the year 1974 when I was teaching in the College of Engineering, Guindy. Now it is called Anna University. That time, actually, only vacuum tubes we have been using. We didn't have even transistors. That is the kind of situation we were in. But now, the hardware is so much, we can do anything. Hardware is not a problem at all. We have to look into the theoretical computer science aspect of it. Cognitive computing is to simulate human thought processes in computing models. In view of this, computers can work like human brain and employ self-learning algorithms. That's very important, self-learning algorithms that make use of data mining tools, pattern recognition, to
I believe Rajan sir has got disconnected.
Sir, please, we are contacting.
Right. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think Professor Dr. Eg Radhan is not able to connect with us at the moment. Sorry for the inconvenience caused. We can continue with our other speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth industrial revolution is driving manufacturing into the future. We stand on the brink of a technological revolution that will fundamentally alter the way we live, work, and relate to one another. In its scale, scope, and complexity, the transformation will be unlike anything humankind has experienced before. The arrival of a fourth and distinct one, velocity, scope, and systems impact, the speed of current breakthroughs has no historical precedent. When compared with previous industrial revolutions, the fourth is evolving at an exponential rather than a linear pace. Moreover, it is disrupting almost every industry in every country, and the breadth and depth of these changes herald the transformation of entire systems of production, management, and governance. And to discuss this in broader perspective, today we have with us an intellectual technological expert, Professor Valentina Emilia Balas. and it's my honor to introduce her. Valentina E. Balas is currently a professor in the Department of Automatics and Applied Software at the Faculty of Engineering, University of Ered, Romania. She holds a PhD cum laude in Applied Electronics and Telecommunications from Polytechnic University of Timisoara. Dr. Balas has authored more than 350 research papers in renowned journals and international conferences. Her research interests are in intelligent systems, fuzzy control, soft computing, smart sensors, information fusion, modeling, and simulation. She is the editor-in-chief to International Journal of Advanced Intelligence Paradigms, IJAIP, and to International Journal of Computational Systems Engineering. Member in editorial board, member of several national and international journals, and is evaluator expert for national, international projects and PhD thesis. Dr. Balas is the Director of Intelligent Systems Research Center and Director of the Department of International Relations, Programs and Projects at University of Ered. Dr. Balas has served as General Chair of the International Workshop on Soft Computing and Applications, SOFA, in 9 editions from the year 2005 to year 2020, held in Romania and Hungary. Dr. Balas participated in many international conferences as organizer, honorary chair, session chair, member in steering, advisory, or international program committees, and keynote speaker. Now she's working in a national project with European Union funding support, BioCell Nano Art, novel bio-inspired cellular nano architectures for digital integrated circuits, 3M Euro from National Authority for Scientific Research and Innovations. She is a member of European Society for Fuzzy Logic and Technology, member of Society for Industrial and Applied Mathematics, and a senior member IEEE, member in Technical Committee, Fuzzy Systems IEEE Computational Intelligence Society, Chair of the Task Force 14 in Technical Committee, Emerging Technologies, member in Technical Committee, Soft Computing IEEE SMCS. Dr. Balas was Vice President of IFSA, International Fuzzy Systems Association Council from the year 2013 to 2015, and also a Joint Secretary of the Governing Council of Forum for Interdisciplinary Mathematics, FIM, a multidisciplinary academic body, India, and recipient of the Tudor Tănăsescu Prize from the Romanian Academy for contributions in the field of soft computing methods in the year 2019. So may I have the honor of inviting such an eminent personality to address us. Please, ma'am.
Thank you very much for the presentation. And first of all, I would like to express my appreciation to the organizing committee for inviting me in this important conference. I would like to extend my greetings to all the participants here in the conference, to all the dignitary, to your vice president, to professors and students that are here in this meeting now. Dear distinguished colleges, academicians, and research professional students, I am delighted to see the International Conference on Fourth Industrial Revolution-based Technology and Practice, organized by your university, Quantum University, organized in this nice city that I have visited. I want to tell you that nowadays technology is changing the way of our life and the way of learn and work also. In the last period, a lot of research took place in the field of computational intelligence, in the field of artificial intelligence, because everywhere we find this, and also in the direction of the fourth industrial revolution. So I congratulate the organizer for such an initiative and hope that this conference will be used to enrich the knowledge in computational intelligence and in the direction of fourth industrial revolution, with all applications around and a lot of interdisciplinarity research. And I'm sure the conference will evolve to become one of the most important international conferences dedicated to promoting research and development activities. I will introduce my presentation. I hope I have enough time. Just a moment to share with you the screen. I don't know, I hope to be able to see. So I think here, present now, yes?
Yes, present now.
And then entire screen or
Share
a
the screen.
window, I think.
You have to share the screen, ma'am.
Here is written, you must grant permission in order to share your screen. Maybe it's not okay, I am here using...
You can share the screen, ma'am.
yes, but I think I am not permitted.
No, ma'am, you are already permitted. You are the part of the that meeting.
Yes, but maybe I need to log in with Chrome, I think. It happens sometimes to me, this. Maybe, can you wait for me 2 minutes? I will...
Sir, ma'am, what you can do, you can send the PPT to us so that we can project and you will speak.
Yes, I will do this. So I will send just now, and please wait. We have enough time because I will take...
Yes, we have.
Just a moment, please. I will send to the conference, yes?
Yes, sir. Thanks, sir.
Some messages here, let's see. Yes, I found. It's not too long, but it's interesting, and you will like my presentation with a small movie that you will be able to introduce there. Now I sent, let's see. And until that moment, you will download. Did you receive my message?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. We haven't received your message.
Maybe few seconds.
You have to wait at least for 2 minutes time because, you know.
Yeah.
Internet in our country is the best in Europe. You must know this.
I can understand this thing very well. Because, you know, it's taking a lot of server to come to our one in that case. So it will take another few seconds, I think.
Let's see. Anyway, I want to tell you, until that moment, we will see the presentation, that from a list of 7 cities, including Brussels, Munich, Warsaw, Vilnius, Luxembourg, and Leon, our capital, Bucharest, was selected by European Union member state to host the new European Cybersecurity Competence Center from this year, starting from 2021. And I invite your students, your professors, your colleagues to organize some small project and to introduce here together Romania. I also want to tell you that I appreciate very much your scientists, your researchers, because you must know that the first language in Microsoft is English because of you, of Indian specialists, and the second language is Romanian language because our colleagues that are working in Microsoft. So we are somehow connected, and you must know that we have many similarities between our people and their souls. I saw this during my many visits in India, and I have many friends there, and I hope in many collaborations. Also, I want to tell you that working in this department, I developed many connections and memorandum of understanding with the universities, and I was very happy to have as a guest professors and students from India in Erasmus project. I'm fighting to have more students from your country and professors also. Did my
No, ma'am.
presentation?
No, ma'am.
No?
Please present it.
I will try once again and let's see.
Which email ID you are sending?
I sent directly to the address of your conference. So it's, I will send the last message from you when you send me the invitation and where to log.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please send it to
No,
convener.icfir.
I will send just now, once again, just a
Okay,
moment.
okay, ma'am.
Maybe to send me a message to be sure that I send
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
the right. Yes. I think I sent to another address, to another conference, but it's not a problem. Let's see. Yes, this is Google Calendar. So here I will send. It was a mistake. Yes? You send me.
Yes, ma'am. We have sent.
Just now, I will send again. And excuse me, I think I sent to another address. Yes, Quantum University now. And it will arrive in time. And I will tell you another story. Yes, now will work, you will see. You saw that I am working in many direction of research, but mainly using artificial intelligence. And one direction you saw in that project, BioCell NanoArt. So working in nanotechnologies, we try to organize the new devices of the future with a strong team from Romania. It's a Romanian specialist that work 25 years outside Romania, in Belgium, in United States, and in Emirates. So it's about Professor Valeriu Beiu. He came in Romania 4 years ago and organized this team. In one work package related to software, I am the director of that work package. In another work package related to hardware, it's director, my husband, that is professor. And I told you that just nowadays we had very difficult times because of coronavirus, but exactly from yesterday he is negative. So we hope he will arrive home very soon.
That's good.
And I'm so happy, but very hard time for me.
Understand.
And other colleagues from the mathematical side, from biology, and especially from Portugal, we have some professors working in molecular biology, because we are looking to copy the neuron and to have the way of sending the information along the axon. That is very reliable device. So looking to the axon, we try to copy such a specific network, HAMOC network, we introduce as mathematical side. And you must know that they are very nice research in this direction because they are very, very reliable. We are working also in different devices on the side of reliability, and this kind of HAMOC networks have a very high reliability, more than 50%. So even 50 gig are broken, the information can be sent from the internet. Now, do you have the movie and the presentation? Not yet? And other
No,
research,
ma'am, we have not received. Can you please reply me to the mail so that
yes.
I can receive?
So
Yeah.
you send me an email just now, yes?
Yes, ma'am. I have sent you a mail. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you send me now, yes. Now I will attach here the presentation. And hopefully it will be okay. Yes. Now you will tell me. And other nice research is related to intelligent greenhouse, and recently about the same concept, but looking to the rooftop greenhouses. That is a new concept here in Europe, and started first in New York, the first building with such rooftop greenhouse, and then in Spain. And together with my PhD students, we are looking to this concept to develop and to organize like a symbiosis man building. So from the greenhouse to have the oxygen, and from the building to introduce on that rooftop greenhouse the CO2. Then we have other interesting research related to automotive. So how to maintain the distance between two cars on a highway. And because we were working 9 years in a research institute in our city in Arad, me and my husband, in this research institute near the biggest factory of railway coaches in southeastern Europe. We developed many applications for railway coaches, air conditioning and also braking systems for railway coaches, and so on. What I want to tell you also, related to all research around the world, that we are looking to be innovative. So it's not enough to produce a lot of papers, to have many articles in journals, many books, but to have real applications. So innovation is the successful exploitation of new idea. And through innovation, we achieve more for less for more, getting more performance from less cost.
Now it is visible.
This is a concept that I took also from an Indian scientist. It's about Ramesh Maselkar, and I appreciate his ideas very much. So this conference is also oriented towards increasing benefit to mankind, at the same time conserving our ecosystem. So my presentation is there. You can start. I have, I think, 26 slides. In some slides, I have more information. You will see if I have enough time, I will continue. If no, you will announce me 5 minutes, things like this, please. Okay, so please, next. Yes. So I want to tell you about this term first. So this term Industry 4.0 was used publicly for the first time in 2011 at the Hanover Fair, and it was quickly become a synonym for the fourth industrial revolution with the Internet of Things, as it enabled technology. Industry 4.0 is about the decentralized control of production processes enabled by cyber physical systems, a tight and finally gain integration of horizontal and vertical value chains, as well as new smart device services. Then in 2016, the World Economic Forum published their definitive view on that Industry 4.0, on how it will change almost every aspect of our economic and social life. And this will be possibly will be the possibility that billions of people and things will be connected. Next, please. Yes. So the transformation of that happening across manufacturing represents not just another stage of the third industrial revolution, but an entirely new and distinct one. The fourth industrial revolution will have an impact on velocity, scope, and systems, and unlike the previous revolution, it is evolving at an exponential rate and disrupting almost every industry in every country. Next. So Industry 4.0 and the hyper-connected business, it's a multidisciplinary material that I prepare for you. So is not related exactly to artificial intelligence and IoT, but I will tell you a few things about production. So Industry 4.0 will be a revolution and a disruption. Its ultimate target is to achieve individual production down to lot size 1 at cost close to mass production. To do that require a tight value network integration within the production line, but also with suppliers via that decentralized control of production process. IoT and artificial intelligence are mandatory to deliver that outcome. Next one, please. So Industry 4.0 and hyper-connected business. This is a big difference between the recent past and the future. So connectivity is set to become deeper and more widespread. You need new ways of deriving valuable information from all the data collected through the various means like sensors. A typical example is predictive maintenance for machines in the production line or for the installed base of products. Manufacturers must become part of broader and more integrated value chain based on an ecosystem of the right partners, and then may have to refresh their business models to cope with disruptors and get even closer to their customers. Next. So open the data pipeline is to create new ways to make and sell things. What you make is important, but how you make it work for your customers is now far more important in a hyper-connected world. You need to think about provisioning enhanced or entirely new services and offerings. And that takes data. You need to be able to capture, analyze, and act on it swiftly. That means the customers get the outcome they expect, and you get to share in their success, which is based on your excellent engineering and production. Next one. So human-centric innovation in Industry 4.0. This is a huge opportunity to enrich the lives of both workers and customers, as well as generate growth and real business value. We must be very pragmatic everywhere. As I told you before, that we need not to write only papers that have no value, but we need to have practical applications. And having practical applications, we need to create value that will means money. So pragmatism must be with all of us. Repetitive and heavy tasks can be done by software or robots, while skilled workers can be freed to add value in creative and innovative ways. Next. IoT is the foundation of the hyper-connected manufacturer. The hyper-connected world is driven by the next generation of the internet. IoT potential is huge. No one disputes that. The point is to make the most of that potential now. IoT is the foundation of a hyper-connected business. It creates seamless flows inside and outside your organization, so you can see what's happening and guide your business in the direction you desire it to go. You can also react with greater agility to trends, internal and external, so you are always ahead of the curve. And IoT is even more powerful when combined with other key technologies. Next. It's about how to help customers to solve their challenges. Monitor production and energy consumption. Just nowadays, we start to work with a team in Africa. I saw that they are very, very active, working in this direction of monitor and the production, but more the energy consumption, and to do prediction for this direction. So evolution towards the smart factory has begun. To create intelligent manufacturing system is essential to monitor production operation as well as energy consumption. This requires the timely collection, visualization, and analysis of data. And I introduce here the example that we took from Fujitsu company. We have a nice collaboration with them just nowadays. They offer us for a very low price a nice software to be used with our students, how to organize well the production in a company and how to see everything inside, to count time and to organize well the production. So next one. Also related to all that Fujitsu company gave us, it's about real-time tracking in manufacturing. We are at the point of value in our manufacturing process and supply chain. It's a question. Are they in the right place? Do they work? We believe you won't know until you have visibility. By getting a better grip on this sort of information, just think about the improvement you could make to your manufacturing process, better quality output, faster production, and lower cost. So everywhere we are looking to be efficient. So pragmatism is there. Case study from Fujitsu, as I told you, it's about 6 ways Industry 4.0 technology that will empower your makers. So use smart solution to accelerate human-centered change. Next one. There are some slides from their side with different nice ideas and data. In this case study, so Industry 4.0 technologies enable manufacturers to drive operational excellence and connect every element of your business. Here are 6 ways in which Industry 4.0 solution will empower. Let's see. So it's about better, faster, cost-effective production. We will go to the next slide. because I know the time is not enough always. We are interested on-demand availability, customizable designs, materials, and delivery, then the traceability of all parts, ingredients, and materials. I want to arrive to that movie. Then development of services and experience, not just product. Build sustainable models that reuse, repair, and repurpose. And the key industry 4.0, I will not tell you all that you can see in my slides. You can have and study my slides after my presentation. The key industry technologies are for sure the technologies that you know and you are working with them in artificial intelligence applications, digital annealer, digital twinning, Internet of Things, predictive analytics. Few words about them. There are on the other slides. You can see Fujitsu digital annealing. You must follow my slides, and it's a lot of information. If you will follow more site in internet, then I will not insist on all slides. All the data collected by digital twins are predicted breakage before they happen and reporting them to human operators. And as I told you, we are looking nowadays to this kind of application to predict the consume, to optimize somehow, and to see if some damages can arrive. So predictive analytics is very important. You can see the different points that are discussing over predictive analytics, data reporting, analysis, monitoring, predictive analytics, and so on. Then different point here to predictive analytics process, define project data collection, data analysis, statistics, modeling, deployment, model monitoring. Also, you can see all this information I told you. And now we will arrive to the part that I want to introduce related to product life cycle management solution or offered by Fujitsu. So the next slide, it's a link. I propose you to introduce that movie to follow together, please. Yes, this link, please run. It's a short movie, maybe 3-4 minutes. And I want to see, and maybe you will also use their software. I will put in touch if you want. And it's very good to do a project for a company and so on. And students can build such small project to organize a company inside the product and the production also. I hope you can, is workable, that link?
Aditya, are you able to run it?
No, you have there on the next slide.
Yes, sir.
It's only a link there. So it's easy for you, because for my side, it's impossible. It's not working, even the presentation.
Mm-hmm. Aditi, please.
2 minutes, sir.
I think you can run that link.
Later you can run. That's a problem. Please switch on your video and come over to the presentation part only.
So this is the movie, and then the presentation is finished, because I want to be in time and to have your program as you propose it.
Okay.
So it's possible. It's possible to run. I think it's interesting for your students, and you will like it. Yes, it's working.
Is it working?
Sir, let me.
As it's a PPT, not a PDF document, it's easy to access, I think.
That's true. You are absolutely right in this, man. When you are coming back to India, ma'am?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe when will be possible. But really, I'm looking for collaborations, many collaborations with you, and I fight to see projects between Romania and India, because I saw until now many projects: India, Portugal, India, Hungary, India, Austria, and my friends from India asked me, please put me in touch with your friends, with your colleagues, and I was successful many times, even with Canada. I have friends everywhere, it is true, but now I want a project between us.
So I have written a letter to you in this, and as a matter of fact, when you were planning to come way back in I think February 2020, I requested you to visit the center. But next time, whenever you are coming, you're most welcome to the campus, so that we can have further interactions in this matter.
Thank you very much. Thank you a lot. I will be with you, of course.
Sure.
And also, you are welcome in Romania. In our university.
I recently, I think one of my research scholar has contributed your compiled book on soft computing.
Yes, it's possible. I have many books and working on many projects. As I told you, with my friends from everywhere in India. Especially, I have in South India, in that Kalasalingam University, the Vice Chancellor visited us, and one professor from there even two times, and we have a nice collaboration. Then in NIT Silchar, in Sikkim, in Dehradun, I visited, as I told you, I think 2-3 years ago. It was wonderful, everywhere there. And then in Punjab, I have friends in Delhi. And as I told you, I'm looking to many collaborations. And recently, our ambassador, it's a new one there in Delhi. It's a woman, and I'm sure we will be more successful in this direction. So what about movie? Is not working.
Aditi?
And I want to tell you another project. Maybe I will find people that want to work. It's related to artificial pancreas. And working with that team in Silchar and in South India.
Artificial pancreas.
Pardon?
Artificial pancreas.
Yes, artificial pancreas. Modeling, to have a model and to organize a new controller that is very efficient. We are using a specific technique that is fuzz interpolative controllers. Very useful for highly nonlinear systems. Now it's working, the movie, please. With sound, if possible.
These are some limitations.
Maybe, yes. So from Fujitsu, it's this 4D.
Ma'am, we are also at the verge of tying up with Siemens for IR 4.0 production.
Yes, 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 they have also.
Uh-huh.
So is related to how to design. You can see there, they offer this software, and we can organize a process and to see the time. It's nice, that software, but as you told, you have from the Siemens side maybe some similar, isn't it?
Yes, this is a NOx, electronic NOx 4.0. It is
Yes.
completely CAD/CAM, and we are at the verge of some tying up. This is completely IR 4.0 production.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, they count what is happening when it's about workers, but also when there are manipulators and robots all around. So it is true, everything will be changed. Your students must know all tools and to work to be more efficient. But as I told you at the end, we need to work to have clean world all around, because this global warming, it's another challenge for our world, and very soon we will see how to increase the number of electric automobiles and to calm down with these emissions of CO2. So
I was I was going through one case study in which
Pardon?
I was going through the case study, and
Yes.
in that carbon emission in EVT was much higher in the classical automotive. So this is again going to be a challenge for the environment. Once we will be having our EVT, the carbon emission will be higher in comparison to the normal manufacturing of automobiles.
We will try to find the new ways to decrease and to have a clean world. This is the truth. Is not easy, not easy. So I thank you very much for being with me. And the last slide, if you can put, it's a nice one.
Last slide.
The last slide. Thank you for your attention, and stay away from virus.
Very true.
Thank you very much once again.
I would like to extend my thanks. I can understand that, ma'am, you are having a personally setback, that your husband is affected by coronavirus, and I can understand that in this busy schedule, you have given us time and to bless the kids as well as everyone. It's really good. Over to Weber for a vote of thanks.
Thank you a lot.
Thank you so much, Dr. Valentina Balas, for such an informative and fruitful session. Truly, the fourth industrial revolution represents a fundamental change in the way we live, work, and relate to one another. It's a new chapter in human development enabled by extraordinary technology advances commensurate with those of the first, second, and third industrial revolutions. These advances were merging the physical, digital, and biological worlds in ways that create both huge promise and potential peril. The speed, breadth, and depth of this revolution is forcing us to rethink how countries develop, how organizations create value, and even what it means to be human. The fourth industrial revolution is about more than just technology-driven change. It is an opportunity to help everyone, including leaders, policymakers, and people from all income groups and nations, to harness converging technologies in order to create an inclusive, human-centered future. The real opportunity is to look beyond technology and find ways to give the greatest number of people the ability to positively impact their families, organizations, and communities. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are progressing towards an interesting session which deals with dynamic spectrum access. DSA provides the sensing and dynamic reconfiguration capabilities that leverage the use of spectrum white holes. This allows supporting opportunistic transmission without requiring extra spectrum bandwidth. To elaborate and discuss this professionally, I would like to have the honor of introducing an intellectual and eminent speaker, Professor Francisco Benedito. Professor Francisco Benedito received the degree in electronic engineering from the University of Roma Tre, Rome, Italy in May 2002, and the PhD degree in telecommunication engineering from the University of Roma Tre, Rome, Italy in April 2007. His research interests are in the field of ground-penetrating radar, software and cognitive radio, digital signal and image processing for telecommunications, synchronization for the 3G mobile communication systems and multimedia communication, Internet of Things, cloud computing, computer network security, diseases modeling, medical signal processing, security and time series signal communication. He has sounding publication records in best international transactions, journals, and Tier 1 and Tier 2 of IEEE conferences. Professor Benedito has been the chair of the IEEE 1900.1 Standard Definitions and Concepts for Dynamic Spectrum Access, terminology relating to emerging wireless networks, system functionality, and spectrum management since 2016. He has been the leader of the WP 3.5 on development of advanced GPR data processing technique of the European Cost Action TU 1208, civil engineering applications of ground-penetrating radar. He's been a proud editorial board member, and his achievements are editor-in-chief of the international journal Recent Advances on Computer Science and Communications, Bentham. He has been the editor of the IEEE SDN newsletter, associate editor of the IEEE Access Journal, associate editor for the AEU, International Journal of Electronics and Communications, the general co-chair of the IEEE 43rd International Conference on Telecommunications and Signal Processing, the general chair of the series of international workshops on signal processing for secure communications. He has been the lead guest editor of the special issue on advanced ground-penetrating radar signal processing techniques for the Signal Processing Journal. He was also a reviewer for several IEEE transactions, IET proceedings, EURASIP, and Elsevier journals, and a TPC member for several IEEE international conferences. So I would like to invite Professor Benedito to address us. Please, sir.
Okay, thank you. Good morning again to everybody, and thank you very much for your kind introduction. I hope you are able to listen to me and to hear. Okay, thank you very much. So let me just share my presentation with you. I would like to stay in time, so let's try to start immediately with my presentation. Okay, so this is what I would like to introduce to you today. It's okay, I think, yes. Okay, there's some delay, but I think now that's the presentation is okay. Okay, so my talk today is about dynamic spectrum access and standardization activities. In particular, I'm here in my role of IEEE chair of the 19.1 working group that is a working group of the IEEE under the DISPAN Standard Committee activity in order to spread the diffusion of the recently published standard of the IEEE in the field of dynamic spectrum access. In particular, the outline of this presentation is as follows. So a brief introduction about the spectrum scarcity problem and the spectrum occupancy. Then I will focus on the technology of dynamic spectrum access, starting from the software-defined concepts to the cognitive radios, with a little attention paid to the new terms that we have published in the recently proposed standard about cognition and cognitive process and spectrum sensing. And then I will briefly offer you a panoramic view of the process of the progressing toward regulatory harmonization in the world, talking about standardization bodies and at national level. Then I will briefly conclude my presentation with some future directions that we will oversee in the next years. So you know that the radio spectrum is a scarce resource, and as you can see, the spectrum that is assigned to radio communication is almost full of services, as you can see from this zooming view here in the second part of the slide. However, the frequencies are now allocated based on a static allocation mechanism, and the assignment of the spectrum is usually done by a command and control mechanism. This obviously results in a problem of spectrum scarcity for all the new protocols and radios that needs frequency bands to operate. However, the spectrum scarcity problem is, let's say, a false problem, because if we evaluate how much the frequency bands are used, as the FCC done in 2002 for the first time, and then in 2009 and 2012 also in Europe, we can see that the spectrum occupancy is in the range of between 15 and 80%, and above all, the mean spectrum utilization is lower than the 20%. Let's have a look of what happens in the most important cities in some countries in the world, and we can see that, for example, in Chicago, it is a very huge city in the US, the mean spectrum utilization is about 14%. This means that for the 85%, the spectrum bands are free, are vacant, are unused, and this is unacceptable. Obviously, this is what we now call the spectrum scarcity problem, but is obviously that is the consequence of a bad allocation mechanism. The same happens in Europe. For example, in Barcelona, we have a mean spectrum utilization less than 20%. We have about less than 18%, according to some publications from 2009. And the same in other cities. If maybe in Brno we can expect a lower utilization of the spectrum, that however is very low, is about 6.5%. In the city of Paris, we have in total a mean spectrum utilization that is less than 11%. And again, this is not acceptable. Also because in the future, as we know and as we are experiencing days after days, the request of traffic generated by mobile phones, smartphones, and the global mobile data traffic will explosively be increased. In particular, we estimate that in 2022, so not so far away from us, just the next year, we will have an increasing in the traffic by smartphone that is almost 10 times than we have the traffic that we have now. And all this data traffic is almost generated overall by data. Voice is not so important in the future, let's say. We are experiencing the real Internet of Things. Obviously, with these demands about data traffic and this static allocation that we have seen before about frequency bands, we cannot afford this explosive growth. So something must change, and something is changing, because cognitive radio is now seen as the technology of the future for phasing up with the spectrum scarcity problem, in particular by means of the dynamic spectrum access technology, because we are changing our view from a static spectrum allocation to a spectrum sharing strategy and a dynamic spectrum and a dynamic access to the spectrum. This means that if before mobile frequencies were getting crowded and some other frequencies were underutilized or even unused, now with cognitive radio we can use any channel. We can opportunistically access free and underutilized frequency bands. In this new working scenario, we have new users that are the cognitive radio users, that are the so-called secondary users. Secondary users are unlicensed users, exploit spectrum halls. Spectrum halls are the spectrum opportunities. I mean the vacant frequency bands that can be exploited when the licensed users, namely the primary users, are not using that channels, and they create cognitive radio networks. This working scenario is organized and must be deeply and carefully controlled, since, as you can see, new kinds of security problems can arise in these new scenarios. What we have done under the IEEE is to try to standardize all the rules about dynamic spectrum access, cognitive radios, and how they access and use the frequency bands. In particular, we have started from the definition, from the classical, let's say, the conventional definition of cognitive, of software-defined radios, and added some capabilities in order to fully define what a cognitive radio is. And in particular, under my guidance, the IEEE 19.1 working group has defined cognition with the following attributes. I mean, memory and reasoning, learning, goal-driven, and adaptiveness. And even if it's expected that the terms cognitive and cognitive radio will undergo changes in the next years, we have tried to fix some fundamental definition in the recently published standard in 2019. And in particular, here are the definitions that I would like to share with you, that I think are the fundamental blocks of the new standard about dynamic spectrum access. In particular, let's focus just on the first and on the last one. The first one is cognition. We have defined and standardized after a long work that lasts for almost 7 or 8 years, cognition as the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and to reason based on that knowledge within a given scope to reach a certain goal or objective. That I think is a very clear definition. That it's interesting because it reflects also all the aspects of Industry 4.0 that has been that you have talked about in the previous very nice presentation. And what is hence a cognitive radio? Is a radio that exploits cognition to control its behavior. So a cognitive radio can adapt its parameter and based on cognitive process and the cognition ability in order to opportunistically access free and underutilized frequency bands. Obviously, the big and very huge problem behind this new communication paradigm is the difficulty to have a regulatory framework that is harmonized between different standardization bodies and for different countries. Because as you can see at a glance with the slide, we have a lot of different standardization bodies that focusing on different countries. Okay, the IEEE, I think it has been the first that tries to propose a standardization about dynamic spectrum access, and in particular the first version of the IEEE standard about DSA was published in 2008. So almost 13 years ago. This standard then was amended in 2013 with a new document that completed the first one. And now, after a work that lasts, as I said, almost 7 or 8 years, we have published in 2019 the first revision of the standard. And we have started, we have reached the approval from the IEEE Communication Society and from NESCOM last week for starting a new revision of the recently published document in 2019. So if you are interested in work about standardization activities and at standardization level, please email me in order to be part of the new working group to work on the new revision of the standard. However, IEEE is not only the unique standardization body that work toward a regulation framework for DSA. We have in Europe, in particular, the ITU, and in particular the ITU section R, that is mainly focused on telecommunication, and so on regulations about telecommunications. And in particular, here on the right side of the slide, you can see some of the important documents published by the ITUR in terms of DSA, starting from the definition of software-defined radio, and finally with the definitions of cognitive radio and cognitive radio systems. We have a lot of other standardization bodies in Europe and all over the world. In particular, we have ETSI, ETSI, ECMA, and in particular, the most known is the IETF. They are all working towards some regularization in their own research and working fields. What has been done at the national level? Obviously, in the US, we have a lot of work about trying the to standardize the activities about cognitive radios and DSA, and in particular about the TV white space that are the spectrum modes in the TV database. And at the national level in the US, we have the FCC, and in particular the NTIA administrations that have done a lot of work towards the adoption of more efficient and flexible radio spectrum regulations. In particular, you can have here just the most important documents that the FCC published in the fields of radio spectrum regulations, starting from 2004 and ending in 2016. Also in Europe, we have done some work. In particular, the European Commission have proposed a series of initiatives in order to adopt a code of conduct in the fields of communications and telecommunication. In particular, the EU Commission have proposed an action plan on 5G connectivity for Europe that is also based on dynamic spectrum access and cognitive radio. And here you have the reference to the document published by the European Parliament and to the in terms of action, 5G action plan. Also in the Asia Pacific region, some efforts have been done in terms of adopting more flexible radio regulations, and in particular we have the IMDA, that is the pioneering institution that's done a lot of work in this framework, and some efforts have also been done in Africa. In particular, we have the ICTA, that is the Information and Communication Technologies Authority of Mauritius, that have done very big efforts towards the adoption of more flexible radio regulations. And here you have the two important documents published by the ICTA of Mauritius. So just to stay in time, let me briefly run to the conclusion of this presentation. We have so that we have we need clear deadlines for when the spectrum is to be made available to the market in order to implement a more efficient use of otherwise unused frequency bands. And that's because investors in the next generation of wireless broadband need more predictability and consistency regarding future licensing models. We need to identify a minimum licensing duration to ensure returns on investment and to speed up, in particular after the break due to the coronavirus, returns on investment in the field of communications. On the other hand, we need to let the operators use the spectrum assigned to them effectively without having unused frequency band. That is because the shared use of spectrum, either on the basis of general authorization or individual rights, can be enabled more efficient and intensive. And this is particularly relevant for the new and very short spectrum bands foreseen for 5G communications. That's because cognitive radio and dynamic spectrum access will be the technology by which the 5G communication will spread all over the world. Okay, so thanks again for the invitation. This concludes my talk. So if you have any question, please, or if you would like to contact me, you have all my emails here. So once again, thank you very much. I think that we can come back to the Google Meet but I think you are mute at the moment.
Any question? Any person? Okay. So over to Weber, please. Dr. Balas. So I think he is. Dr. Balas. Dr. Aditi.
Thank you, Professor Anito. Dr. Naresh Kumar is concluding the session.
Okay.
Hi, this is Karan. This is Kanesh. Good morning, everyone. Wanted to check. So my session we start at 11:15, right?
Right.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Okay, so once again, thank you very much, and have a nice continuation with your interesting conference. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, Sir Benito. Let me conclude the session that DSA PBSM is a key enabler for sharing and military operations in complex, congested, and contested electromagnetic environments. Digital spectrum policy is fundamental to DSA. Challenges remain business processes, technology, regulatory, policy standards, and are the focus of much effort. There are the key challenges like technological, overcoming the value of death, DSA, PBSM, cognitive technology need to transition to programs of record. And now the cultural, there is also a dynamic spectrum policy related to cultural, like we are having tearing down the pillars of excellence, that is network management, SM and EW. We are really thankful that you have given us time. Now over to Babu, sir.
Dear all, it's been a privilege to express thanks to all the honorable dignitaries, eminent speakers, and audience for sparing their valuable time and making this session a great success. Hearty thanks to our speakers, Professor Dr. Eg Radhan, Dr. Valentina Balas, and Professor Francisco Benedito for this informative and knowledgeable session and providing some valuable insights. Ladies and gentlemen, now we'll have a short tea break and we'll reunite after this.
If everything is ready, we can continue the session because Kanish God is there in the panel right now.
Okay, sir, we can continue. No problem, sir.
If everything is ready, I think Dr. Anamika Chauhan, moderator, and Dr. Amit Dixit, moderator, are in the board right now.
Yes, sir. I'm present here.
Okay, so I would like to hand over to Dr. Anamika. Please, ma'am. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Dr. Anamika Chauhan, please continue.
Yes, sir. Very good morning to all of you. I, Dr. Anamika, applied assistant professor in the Department of Applied Science. I welcome to all the participants and delegates in the 2 days international conference on 4th Industrial Revolution based technology and practices 2020. And I would like to welcome to everyone. And it's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker, Mr. Kanish Kaur. And Kanish Kaur is a management consultant, social entrepreneur specializing in areas trust, safety, cyber security, privacy, public policy, and technology consulting. He holds a postgraduate diploma in management from the Management Development Institute, Gurgaon, India, and pursuing his PhD from IIM Lucknow. For his work in innovation, leadership, and cyber security, he was awarded by the Chevening Fellowship by UK Foreign Commonwealth Office. He is also a visiting faculty at Indian Business School and speakers at Chamber of Commerce. He is a senior manager with Deloitte touching Thomas to LLP in the cyber risk advisory practice, and prior to join Deloitte, Mr. Good spearhead and advanced security service line for EVA in the North India, and he is also the founder of India Future Foundation, which promotes online safety of women and children, and he is also worked towards prevention of the cyber crime. I would like to invite Mr. Kanish Kaur to deliver a talk on cyber security. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for this brief introduction. Thank you, Professor, for inviting me. And just a small correction from my end. I'm no more senior manager at Deloitte Consulting. I am a founder of India Future Foundation, and I started India Future Foundation post my stint with Deloitte. So today my work is basically to help Indian government come up with new standards on information technology. So right now, like Francisco was mentioning about ETSI, so we work with international bodies such as ETSI, ISO, and we help come up with Indian standards. So right now we are helping government come up with a standard on IoT, Internet of Things. We're helping government come up with its own standard on privacy. So we work with bodies such as Ministry of Electronics Information Technology. I'm also helping the government come up with its cybersecurity strategy. So you would have seen Modi ji announce that India is going to come up with its cybersecurity strategy. So I'm trying to give my inputs on the cybersecurity strategy. We have closely worked with MHA. We work with the Ministry of Electronics. We work with the Office of the National Cybersecurity Coordinator on helping on various cybercrime awareness related programs. And so far we have trained more than 20,000 professionals on cybersecurity. So in today's session, I'm going to talk about emerging threat vectors which are coming across and impacting everybody. How many of you are familiar with the term called as dark web? Any show of hands? If we can have a virtual show of hands. Anyone who's heard about dark web? No, the way why dark web is so relevant in today's world. Any guesses? Anyone wants to talk about? Yes, sir. Mr. Aditya Tandon, please go ahead.
Yes. Dark web is something like it's related to Tor, the onion router, and the websites on dark web is of the extension .onion. Like we have the website .com, .co.in, .gov, but they have the website .onion. I even tested a simple HTML page and hosted a website on as a .onion page, which could only be accessed from IP address of my laptop via Tor browsers only. So I said, and the basic feature of those websites is that no government can track. All the trafficking, all the illegal activities are happening as we speak right now through this medium only.
Interesting. Yeah, thank you so much. That was really helpful. Anyone else wants to talk about dark web? Anyone else how believes why dark web is so relevant today? No one? Then let me start. Okay. If you're able to see my screen, can people see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So dark web, this is dark web. So dark web is, part of the internet called as the deep web, deep internet. And darknet is the overall network that can be accessed with specific softwares and configuration and authorizations, often using non-standard communication protocols and ports. So dark web basically comprises of web pages, data which is much beyond the reach of search engines. So if you use different search engines such as Bing, Yahoo, you will not be able to reach to dark web. So some of the unique features of dark web is that it includes abandoned web pages, and bulk of the data that lies within the dark web has been crafted to avoid detection by law enforcement agencies in order to remain anonymous. So why do people post data on dark web? People post data on dark web is to make money. So if you people are familiar with the term called as cryptocurrencies, so any data which is available on dark web today, a lot of people try and sell that data. And as Professor has pointed out, there is a different protocol. So we use the Tor, the Tor onion routing protocol, which will basically make the person's identity anonymous. So you don't know whom you're actually talking to. So you're transacting with somebody. And what you find on dark web is financial records of people, which has been leaked, medical records, legal record, organizations' data, government's resources. So all this data is available on dark web. And above the dark web, you have something called as the surface web, which is your platforms that we have, social media and everything. So whatever leaks from these platforms, Twitter accounts, the Google passwords, your Facebook identities, all that is available on dark web. There are two ways of accessing dark web. You have the file-to-file communication, peer-to-peer communication network. And the difference between dark web is that it is part of the deep web. The dark web relies on darknets, networks where connections are made between trusted peers. And dark web is a portion of deep web that requires highly specialized tools and equipment and configurations to access it. So it lies in the deep underground sites, and owners have more reasons to keep their content hidden. Let's move to this. Anyone heard about Pegasus? Pegasus was a malware which was able to allow communication of WhatsApp to be broken, and a third party could listen to communication. Anyone heard about Pegasus? So Pegasus was, a vulnerability which was left and exploited by this worm. So there is this leading Israeli group called as the NSO. They were able to, using Pegasus, intercept communication sent from devices, including communication over WhatsApp, to remotely turn on people's microphones to capture activity on phones, use GPS to function tracking location. So this would allow the communication on WhatsApp to be intercepted and even find out locations of people. So what it means was that using this, they were able to hack into people's communication. So NSO had supplied this software product to UAE, to Saudi Arabia, to Mexico. So the governments of these countries were able to hack into communications of people who were speaking against them. So they hacked into the human rights activist, Ahmad Mansour in United Arab Emirates. The NSO exploited this link and has sent this to Mexican scientists and public health campaigners. So it impacted more than 45 countries. So it basically created a command and control server, which was there. Let's understand what it did in India. So Pegasus was quietly eating into some Indians' data during the election period. At least 2 dozen journalists, including lawyers, activists in the country, were targeted for surveillance. So this included Nagpur-based human rights group. This included former BBC journalists. And in October 2019, WhatsApp decided to sue NSO Group since there was a fixed vulnerability that targeted more than 1,400 people, and out of which 100 of whom were human rights defenders, journalists. So WhatsApp had informed MIT that 121 Indians had been affected because of this. So the communication within your WhatsApp was compromised by this particular group. Now let's just look at how does Pegasus links to dark web. In July 2018, a lead programmer from NSO Group, called as the Israeli cybersecurity company, found this malware, and he was looking to sell this. So there was a sale of around $50 million which they were trying to do in able to sell this particular vulnerability which was there. And the internal security processes of this organization was compromised, and other private security firms whose products like Pegasus could potentially disastrous and fast-paced, they were trying to see that this falls in. So somebody just mentioned earlier that communication on dark web is 100% secure, or law enforcement agencies cannot access it, which is not the case. Here, actually, the CIA found out that there's somebody trying to make a sale of worth more than $50 million. And this person who was trying to make this sale was from this company, and his identity got compromised. Right? So we will understand in today's session what is dark web, how it really works. So let's just look at it. So there was a free network started hosting service which was started in 2000, And the Tor-based relay was developed by the US Naval Research in 2002. 2003, the I2 peer network was developed. And the Tor became actually a non-for-profit organization. So if you look at Tor, which is used to access the dark web, was developed by the US Naval Research Laboratory. So anything which a US government is developing, right? Can that be free? Can that be not be under surveillance? I have my doubts. In 2009, Satoshi Nakamoto started Bitcoin digital currency, and in 2011, sorry,
Sorry, the slides are not moving.
Slides are not moving. Okay.
Yeah.
Just give me a second. I'll try and.
Kanish,
Yes,
we
sir.
missed out.
Let me know if your people are able to see my screen now.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
So in this session, we'll talk about dark web. So are you people able to see my screen now? The dark web, the hidden internet. Is this visible?
Yes.
So this was a slide that I was referring to. So, Tor was basically started by the US Naval Department, and it was a research project, which was to allow communication into the dark web. And in 2006, it became a not-for-profit, right? And in 2009, the Bitcoin digital currency got launched, and a Silk Road marketplace was launched in 2011. Anyone heard about the Silk Road marketplace? Any guesses? So we have heard of the term called as mandi, mandi where you buy all the vegetables, right? So consider Silk Road the mandi for all notorious activity. So Silk Road was selling weapons, it was selling drugs, you can hire a contractor to kill a person. So all illegal activities were being done through Silk Road. And FBI went behind Silk Road and they were able to bring it down. By the time they were able to bring Silk Road down, its valuation was more than $2 billion already. And then what happened when Silk Road got down, there were other marketplaces. So dark web has these marketplaces like Silk Road where people can actually buy illegal substances, drugs, weapons, and it is actually acting like a global repository where people are looking to trade things which are illegal in the normal world. So today, there is great amount of I would say curiosity with respect to dark web, and these marketplaces which are set up on dark web today act as a major I would say popularity point where people want to do it. So similar forums have come up such as Agora, Evolution. The founder of one of these portals, Silk Road Marketplace, Ross Ulbricht, was sentenced to lifetime by the FBI. And then there were other marketplaces which came. Trade Route Marketplace came, and then there was a huge scam with respect to bitcoins. So dark web has been really interesting in terms of what it allows, and the marketplaces which is just created. Now, how can you access dark web? You can access dark web by using the Onion router, the Tor browser, which can allow access to .onion pages, like Sir just mentioned. And a search engine or a web page can then help you search dark web, right? So there are multiple databases which are there in dark web, hash database, and these databases have tremendous amount of information. So tomorrow, if you think your email information is compromised or your identity is compromised, you can actually try doing a search on dark web and find out what kind of data about you is there on dark web. It could be again the organization which you're associated with. So many times when I do searches on dark web, I'm amazed to find amount of information I'm able to find about myself and the organizations that I work for. So it's tremendous. You can actually find out so many amount of vulnerabilities which are there in popular softwares on dark web. You can also find out leaked information. So if you hear that a company got hacked, you will find that their data is also available on dark web. and I'll share a sample report of one of the dark web towards the end of the session. So how does it help hackers? So dark web helps hackers because it allows them to remain anonymous. You don't know which hacker actually stole that information, and it allows them to maintain their privacy and sell this information, right? So it's a big marketplace. So today, Tor client would allow access, and the communication, you're not able to find out who's the actual person on dark web. I'll take a pause here for any questions, which if any one of you have.
Mr. Kanish,
yes, please go ahead.
I have a question.
Yes, please
like you mentioned that, like if anyone has been hacked, any directory has been hacked, or any information is leaked, like we all heard of WikiLeaks, right? The Julian Assange case, which has been trending so long since for 4 to 5 years, more than 4 to 5 years. So can I search for that that leaked information in hash database, like you mentioned? And if I can do that, so how can I do that? Can you please guide us through it?
So yes, so exactly. So what was happening was the WikiLeaks cables, their information, whatever was compromised, was available on dark web. So if you do searches on dark web, you can find out all that information. The only way is that you will have to, some information will be available for free, but the hacker was actually compromise that data will not give you everything for free. So he will give you some part of it for free, and then ask you to pay money in Bitcoin, and then say that if you need the entire database, pay me in this much amount of Bitcoin, this is my Bitcoin wallet, and make the sale, and then you can get the full information. A lot of time it has happened that people have actually fooled, because you don't know who's on the other side, that people have actually fooled other people by showing something and actually not having the entire database. But yes, hackers actually use this forum to make money. People would do bug bounty programs, and then through Bitcoin you'll be able to buy this information.
Sure. Mr. Kanish, please, one more thing. Can you please make the slide to the full screen? Because right now it is showing a little bit. No, we can see only to the thing. You can click the slideshow button right on the bottom.
No, I had actually made it. I made it full screen. So let me just try and share it.
Please try, because right now we're seeing the default screen, which is appears of this PowerPoint.
Let me just see if there is. Are you able to see it full screen now?
No, not full screen. If you click the full screen view, slideshow view, then perhaps it will be shown.
No, I have actually done
right now
that.
It's not.
I have actually tried doing that. Let me see what's the issue.
So have you shared the desktop screen? Have you shared the desktop screen?
Yeah, I am trying to.
Or
yeah.
Just let the desktop, not the. Yes, sir.
Kanish?
Yes, sir.
There are many students sitting in seminar room. So I am requesting the people or the coordinator in the seminar rooms, student, if any student is having any question, please ask. Anybody who is interested to ask the question, please ask the question. I am proud to say, students who are sitting in seminar room, that Kanishk is my old student, and I have taught him computer science. So you can ask, he's just like your senior.
Yes, thank you, sir, for sharing that. So, when sir used to teach us, I used to be fascinated by all of this. So sir had actually taught me artificial intelligence, machine learning. And today when I apply principles of artificial intelligence, machine learning, in developing certain specific softwares, I remember sir, when sir used to teach me basics. Another aspect was sir had taught us about the Turing machine, the Turing principles, right? So which becomes so much relevant today. So I do a lot of work around cryptography and encryption. And I remember, sir, every time, I try and refresh my memory in terms of what sir had taught us. Because today I'm actually trying to solve problems on concepts which sir had taught me in college. So, thank you so much, sir.
I'm proud of you. So over to Dr.
Yeah.
Anamika.
Yeah, so
We can start sessions in that case.
yeah, are you able to see my screen now? Is this fine?
It is fine. Is it? I think a few fonts we are able to see, but not the descriptions.
You're not able to see the description. Okay. So what I can actually do is I can send this presentation to.
Oh, yes. This will be better, and then we will be forwarding it. We will be putting it in on our learning resource center of the university, so that anybody can access this. Okay.
Yes, people can access this.
I would like to tell you that we are running a full-fledged 4 years program in BTech Cybersecurity and Forensics.
Okay, sir, that's great.
So I must be having, the third year students, which are very much interested in cybersecurity. So I request again my students that if you have any questions, because he has done a good job there in UK, I think in cybersecurity. Anybody who is willing to ask any question from the students may ask questions, and it is should be very interactive one, in fact. So over to Anamika.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir, for this informative talk. Now I would like to invite Just Jabade to present his work.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible to you?
Yes, you
Yes,
are
yes.
audible, but please switch on your video also.
Yes.
I don't know if I remember previous speaker is finished his talk or not. I'm not sure.
Pardon?
Speaker is finished his talk or not. I'm not sure because he was in incomplete. May probably he would like to continue, or I'm not sure. Check with the speaker.
Speaker, I think speaker is a problem with that.
Hello. Am I
Yes.
audible now?
Yes, you are audible. Please continue.
Is my screen available to?
Yes, it is available. It is visible. We are able to see Friday, 26 March.
Are my slides?
Yes, Jayesh, you can continue. Your slide is visible to here.
Okay. So my topic for today's presentation is a survey on phishing website detection. And the author for a paper is Jayesh Javade, and second author is Soma Ghosh. And we are from College of Engineering, Pune, India. And I am presenting the survey for phishing website detection. So this is the outline for today's presentation. So what is the motivation behind choosing this topic for my MTech thesis? So the Economic Times newspaper recently published a news related to COVID-19 phishing attacks, which are increased by almost 667%. And another report is from Phishing and Fraud Detection. They published that around 15% annual increase in phishing attacks has been seen in last recent years. And according to data breach investigation report, which is published in year 2020, around 22% of breaches, which is held in year 2019, are phishing attacks. So this clearly demonstrates that we need a reliable anti-phishing
Jayesh
solution.
sir, sorry to interrupt you, but I think your slides are not visible.
Okay, I
We are
will.
still seeing that Friday.
Okay.
Only first slide is visible.
Okay. Is it visible now?
No, Jayesh.
Did you see the motivation, the slides that depicts the motivation? Hello.
No, sir, not yet.
Okay. Is it visible now?
No, Jayesh.
Yes, sir. Give it some time. I think you are presenting, so it will come in a while.
Okay. Yeah.
It is visible now. Please continue. Motivations.
Yes, yes. Okay. So the first motivation that why I choose this topic is due to the Economic Times news, which published that around 667% increase is seen in phishing attacks related to COVID-19 issues or vaccination topics. That's why this clearly demonstrates that there is a need for anti-phishing solution for continuous monitoring of such threats. So first, we will see what is phishing attacks. A small introduction about phishing attacks. So phishing is a fraudulent attempt to obtain sensitive information like passwords, username, some credential information by just mimicking a legitimate site which looks very similar to the legitimate one. And this is a type of social engineering attack which is most common in year 2020, and this phishing attack is very easy to implement. So we see a increase in such attacks in recent years. So next is, what is the workflow for this phishing attack? First, attacker sends an email which contains a malicious URL or phishing URL, and the email contains some information which urges the users to click on that malicious URL, and that URL redirects us to the phishing website. And when
Jayesh, please switch on your camera and also move on to your research work only, because you have only 3 minutes are left. So please try to wind up.
Yes. Is it okay now?
Yeah.
So when the user enters some credential on that phishing website, the credential passed on to the attackers, and then attackers uses that victim's credential to access the website. The most common example of phishing attacks are like Netflix username and password. We most commonly get some Netflix or Hotstar usernames and password freely to use. So these are gained from such phishing attempts. So my problem statement for this paper is to survey various approaches for detecting phishing websites. The aim is that we have set up URLs, and each URL has some attributes or its features and a class label. Class label has 2 values, which is a legitimate and a phishing. And our aim is to detect or classify the class label from the unknown URLs. So we survey most of the previous approaches. Like some previous approaches are blacklist or whitelist based approach. In this approach, a blacklist is maintained. Means suppose a blacklist which contains phishing URLs is maintained, and when a user attempts to access such a URL or website, they get blocked. So in this way, earlier days phishing websites are detected, but this is not properly maintained. It's not possible in today's world to maintain such a blacklist or whitelist. Hence, these approaches are not used recently. But Google API recently used such blacklist approaches to maintain the phishing website detections URLs. And second approach is a visual similarity based approach. In this approach, the phishing website and legitimate websites are compared based on the visual parameters such as its web page, its HTML properties, etc. Third approach is most popularly used, which is a machine learning based approach. This approach contains various algorithms for classification of phishing websites. We will see them, some of them in next slides. And fourth approach is a multi-layer perceptron. This is the type of neural network approach. So these also have some disadvantages in this. So I tried to implement some of these machine learning and multi-perceptron approach to better understand the disadvantage or advantage and try to mitigate with my new approach from this. So for implementing any machine learning project, we first of all needs a good data set. So I used a freely or publicly available data set, which is called as phishing website data set, and which is publicly available on UCI repository website. The dataset contains 11,056 URLs or instances, and each URL has 30 attributes or features, and the class label is labeled as 0 for phishing website and 1 for legitimate websites. The 30 features that every URL has is divided into 4 categories. The 4 categories are address bar based features. So let us first see the first address bar based features and its subtypes. These type of features are mainly divided into 12 subtypes, like using IP address, whether the URL contains some IP address, or whether the URL is long, or whether URL uses some shortening services like tinyURL or bit.ly, etc. Whether URL having @ symbol. If the URL contains @ symbol, then the part of URL gets redirect after the @ symbol. Fifth one is whether it uses double slash.
Please conclude your work.
Yeah. Next feature is abnormal based feature. This contains some 6 types features which contains HTML. These are the HTML and JavaScript based features. And last is a domain based features. These are maintained by examining the domain of the websites, etc. And this is the overall features which is present in our data set. This is the high level system architecture which is used for implementing some approaches in ML and neural network model. First approach or the classifier which I use is decision tree classifier, which is commonly and most popularly used in machine learning. Second classifier that I use is random forest. This is
Please conclude it now because your time is over now. So please conclude it within 1 minute. You have only 1 minute now.
Yes. So the
also your slide is not moving. So please have a look on this also.
Okay. So the result for our implementation is that we found that XGBoost classifier gives us highest training and testing accuracy. The accuracy for so the conclusion for this project is that we survey most of the machine learning and deep learning approaches based on various classification algorithms. We use the benchmark dataset as phishing website detection, which is freely available on UCI repositories. And from the previous approaches, we conclude that XGBoost model outperforms all the previous model. And the disadvantage for XGBoost is that the researchers have to extract the important features from the dataset manually. Hence, researchers try to implement some deep learning approaches right now. And these are the references for my paper. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jayesh. Participant, do you have any query? Is there any query from Jayesh?
No.
Okay, thank you, Jayesh. Okay, now I would like to invite Mr. Mukesh Prajapati. Mukesh, yes, you can start now. And please, Mukesh, please try to wind up just only 7 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes.
Okay, ma'am. Am I audible to you?
Yeah, Mukesh, you can start.
Good morning to all of you. I am Mukesh Prajapat with my all co-authors, member research staff at Central Research Laboratory, Bharat Electronics Limited, and Navratna PSU under Ministry of Defense. Thank you all for giving this opportunity to present my paper on file encryption and decryption using geospatial technique. I sincerely appreciate the effort made by Quantum University in this pandemic situation and keeping us live and update perspective on new available opportunities. Now, I am presenting my slides for my research work. Which one? Ma'am, slides are visible to you?
Yes, your screen is visible. Please share your slides.
1 minute, ma'am, please. Now slides are visible.
Yes.
The research title is File Encryption and Decryption in Geospatial Method. The agenda for my presentations are introduction, literature review, data presentation and findings, conclusion, usage, limitation, and future works. The basic introduction of encryption and decryption. Encryption is the process of converting plain text to an unintelligible format, that is ciphertext. Decryption is the process of converting ciphertext into a plain text. Ciphertext is the encrypting plain text result in unreadable gibberish. Keys some secret piece of information that customize how the ciphertext is produced. That is simply the encryption description based on the some algorithm that is AES or DES, that is asymmetric or symmetric algorithm. The introduction for our research work is geospatial cryptography method is developed to offer an additional layer of security of files beyond password protection. That is, we added in extra layers for the geospatial encryption. Geospatial encryption method referred to cryptography, which allow user to decrypt the data in a specific location or within a boundary only, and support constraint in time.
Mukesh, please go for the full screen.
Okay, ma'am. Is it okay now? Hello?
Yeah, now it's okay.
Okay. Geospatial encryption method real-time location is retrieved from sensors such as GPS, Gagan, that is developed by ISRO, NAVIC. Geospatial encryption built on established cryptography algorithm like AES with the additional security. AES the symmetric algorithm, which is we using the 128-bit length encryption methodology. Literature review and theory. Cryptography concerns itself with the following four objectives: confidentiality, integrity, non-repudiation, and authentication. There are two general types of key-based algorithm, symmetric and asymmetric. Our research provides an additional layer of security wherein the confidential data can be decrypted at a specific location only, and if any attempt is made to decrypt the data at another location, data will not be decrypted. We implemented this approach in the Java programming and added the location constraint as well as time constraint also. That is, within the particular time, file will be decrypted. If we give 6 to 10 a.m., then file only decrypted within that time space only. Data presentation and findings. Data to be given at time of encryption of files, location, time, and range of decryption. That is where to user look out for the decryption. The location is defined and retrieved from the sensors specified for that devices. Methodology for encryption. Step performed for encrypting the file. Generate key. First step for the encryption file is the key generation. Generation of key using location and range, that is passed through latitude and longitude from the device, that is from the GPS. Ciphertext. Ciphertext is generated using key generated is above step 1. Lastly, generate cipher key. Cipher key generated using a private key, for example, a password. The coordinates are incorporated with a restricted range for data encryption. Generation of geospatial key by binary shift operation. And last step for the encryption is location is retrieved from the location sensor, for example, GPS, NAVIC, or Gagan. The same symmetric key are using for the decryption. The device performing the decryption process must be within the specified geographical area, else the decryption process will fail. Step performed for decrypting the file. Decrypt the cipher key. First of all, we decrypt the cipher key to convert the plain text. The cipher key is decrypted using a private key and retrieve location and range. That is, when a user move beyond the encryption site location, then the location and range of specified area is derived from the key decrypted in step 1 by binary shift operation. Validate the device location. The location of the device performing decryption is retrieved by the location sensor. If location is within area, then decryption of ciphertext is done and that file is converted into the original format. We implemented that part particular. For example, we convert word into the decrypted, then DEC format is using, and that DEC format again converting into the word format, that is doc or dox, etc. Two figure elaborated this. When a user location of device inside a specific area, then is symbolized by the green symbol, and user location is red dot. And when the location of device outside specified area, then decryption is fail. That is red dot. Red location is outside that area, that is user specific or device at this location, that are hovering mouse on this location, and green is that location of device inside the specified area. Conclusion. Significant findings: location of user for decryption, support constraint in special and password. Same key is used for encryption and decryption because we use the AES 128-bit length algorithm. Specified geographic area for decrypting. To compromise the encryption technique, an adversary must be present in the specified area. Even the guess the password, if the device loaded with key is stolen, it will be useless without being in specified area. The key strength analysis between the standard encryption and implemented geospatial encryption. When the data accessed from the wrong location, then user must be spoof the location and range and guess the password. If the password is leaked, break in the standard approach, break the key, or in geospatial encryption, the location and range and password and as well as time constraints must be available to the user. Usage proposed geospatial encryption technique can be very useful in defense related organization where security is very high and it is difficult for an adversary to enter the premise. Limitations, access signal attenuation of GPS or any location retrieve device, and future work we can, if the GPS is not more accurate,
Mukesh,
then
wind up now, time is over.
okay. Future work lastly, and thank you. Any query?
Any query from the participants? Okay, thank you, Mukesh.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
Okay. Okay, now I would like to invite Himdeep Balia. Are you present? Okay. So now I would like to invite next participants, Arshi Kumar.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Arshi, you can start now.
Ma'am, is my screen is visible?
Not now. Arshi, please share your screen.
Ma'am, I'm sharing, but still. Ma'am, now?
Not yet.
Ma'am, now?
No.
Ma.
Okay, now it's visible. Yes, Arshi.
Okay, ma'am.
Please go for the full screen.
Okay, ma'am.
Arshi, you have only 7 minutes, so please not take more than that time.
Ma'am, now? Now my screen is visible?
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning to everyone. My name is Arshi Kumari from Sri Vaishno Devi University, Katra, which is situated in Jammu and Kashmir. And I'm very much obliged to the Quantum University that has given me a platform to showcase my work. This is my content: introduction, background, literature review, proposed model, conclusion, and references. Introduction. As we all heard about the term malware, we all know that malware is a malicious code or a harmful computer code or web script designed to create system vulnerabilities leading to a security breach, information or data theft, and other potential damages to file or computer systems. Various malware detection systems or systems or softwares are built and used. The most important thing that is determined that is how we have to save the data from the ballooning. Traditional malware detection methods use feature selection and extraction as different stages like data mining, which are very time consuming. By keeping these things in the mind, many researchers have already used various paradigms like machine learning, deep learning for removing the time constraint. By going through various experiments done by many researchers, I propose a model that is CNN based malware detection using optimization algorithm, in which Deep learning algorithm, that is CNN, with the hybrid PSO and BAT algorithm, BAT optimization algorithm is used, which provide a better result. This is a background. How we analyze the malware. There are the two main methods through which we can analyze the malware, that is static analysis and dynamic analysis. And from these two methods, we can determine the features. And there are more. There are various more methods like signature based, behavior based, heuristic based, model checking based, deep learning based, cloud based, and mobile based and IoT based. And according to them, the various features are extracted from the malware, and then these machine learning and these algorithms, machine learning and deep learning algorithms are used for the classification of the malware and non-malicious code. And this is a literature review. Various researchers have already worked on this. So I took this topic, and in 2018, that these researchers has used the they proposed a novel method that uses a deep learning approach to detect the malware variant. In this, malicious code is converted into grayscale image. Then the CNN algorithm is used for determining and classification that automatically extract the features of the malware images and use a bad algorithm to address the data imbalance among the different malware families. They attain the accuracy 94.5%, and data set they use that is 9342 binary data of 25 malware families. The advantages of this this paper is that the detection speed of the model is faster and provide efficient result for the data imbalance among different malicious families. And the disadvantage is that it only take fixed size input. It does not take variable size input. They had used the optimization algorithm, that is BAT algorithm. And the improvement drawback of this paper is that they haven't used SPP net. SPP net is used can be used for the variable input. Or another drawback is that they give output in the grayscale. And this is another author who worked on the same database which achieve a accuracy 95.5. This author removed the drawbacks of the previous authors, that he used the VGG16 algorithm for the classification and SPP net to remove the fixed size problem. Advantage is that it gives an output in RGB form, and disadvantage is that its time complexity increases. And we can improve this by using optimization algorithm. We can remove this disadvantage. And another author which used the CNN-based learning model they had read various pattern of the malware detection rather than extracting signature based. They had used the data set, that is 144 Android permission. They had taken the Android permission from which various pattern they had studied, and accuracy they had attained is 93. And another author is that they had given the detail about the BAT algorithm, how they work, how main key features, like frequency tuning, automatic zooming, and parametric control. These they had detailed survey. They had told the detailed survey about these parameters. And another one more author is that they had given us a hybrid PSO and BAT with the BAT algorithm. Hybrid PSO and the BAT algorithm, they had tell about these algorithm in the detail. And through these various going through these various papers, I propose my model that uses the data set, that is Malming data set, that is publicly available, containing 9339 malware images belonging to 25 families classes, and this is our families of the data set. This is my proposed model. In this proposed model, binary file of malicious code is converted into a grayscale image. The grayscale image gives an output in the two-dimensional array. Then the two-dimensional array is output of two-dimensional array is fed into the hybrid PSO BAT algorithm. PSO BAT algorithm is only the drawback of the PSO algorithm is that they converge soon. They can, and similarly, drawback of the bad algorithm is that they converge soon. So removing these two drawbacks, we collaborate the PSO and the bad algorithm. They only the worst particles of the PSO algorithm is replaced with the best particles of the bad algorithm. Similar, vice versa. Same is done with the bad algorithm and the PSO. Then these optimized pixels is then fed to the convolution neural network algorithm that consists of various layers. In this, I am going to use convolution layer with the 50 filters of the size 5x5. Then the ReLU activation, which gives the output features of 50. Then pooling is used to reduce.
Now.
Okay, ma'am. In this way, convolution then the CNN algorithm is used for the classification, that is classification of the malware and the non-malware. Conclusion is that we choose two optimization algorithm, that is PSO and a bad algorithm for best feature selection. Then the optimized output is fed into the CNN algorithm, which increase the accuracy by the 2 to 3%, which reduce the time complexity that is already coming in already done experiments. These are the references, and thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Arshi. Arshi, I have a query.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please, Harshi, what is the significance of the proposed model YU?
Ma'am, this proposed model is just used to increase the accuracy and reducing the time complexity.
Okay. Do you have any comparative study for that?
Yes, ma'am. I had written in the paper, just because of time constraint in the presentation, I haven't showed.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Arshi. You can leave now.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Next participant is Harshit Kumar.
Hi, can you see me?
Okay, Harshit, you can start now. Please share your screen and please bind up just only 5 to 7 minutes.
Sure.
Because already time is done.
Yeah, can you see my screen? Hello, can you see my screen?
Yeah, Harshit. Yes, Harshit. Please start.
Yes. So I'm presenting my paper on conditional attention network for generating classified review. This was done by me as an independent work during my BTech course from Maharaja Surajmal Institute of Technology. So this is the table of contents. I will be presenting the literature introduction, literature review, proposed model, training and evaluation approach, and results, and then conclusion. So the introduction. So there we have the customer reviews like the review of a product that is a major part of today's e-commerce website. Like websites such as Amazon and Flipkart, they have a product, and then we have the review of each of the product. So we have a huge collection of that review, and those review are very important part of the UI and UX of the website, and also helps in selling the product to a wider audience. According to a survey done by Escaladis, providing review for a product can increase its sale by 270%, which is a considerable increase. Also, so these reviews, they are generally consist of 3 parts. That is the rating, that is on the scale of 1 to 5 usually. I'm taking the scale as 1 to 5 for this research work. Then we have a title of the review and a description or text of the review. So there are many reviews present on the e-commerce website, but many of them don't have any review descriptions or are poorly written. So this affects the UI of the e-commerce website and also the sale of the product. So this model proposes a model capable of, this paper proposes a model capable of describing a review title while taking care of the input category, like what kind of product that actually is. For example, whether it is a cloth or a food item, and then generate a review description based on the title that we have provided. So the literature review, I've used sentiment analysis in this. Sentiment analysis is an automated process that is performed by an AI to tell whether a given text has a positive or a negative impact or meaning. So that is sentiment analysis. Then I've used a transformer. Transformer is a neural net that takes input of a given sequence of elements such as text. In case of text, it is words. So it takes a input of sequence of words and converts that sequence of words into another sequence of word depending on what the purpose of the transformer is. There's another type of transformer called attention-based transformer. In this type of transformer, what happens is the transformer looks at certain parts of the sequence and gives attention to particular parts depending on how the training for the transformer is done. And this in turn helps in generating the output faster and much more better. The transformer is usually divided into an encoder and a decoder. An encoder is the part that takes the input sequence and maps into a higher dimensional n-dimensional vector that is later fed into the decoder, and that decoder understands that vector and produces the output sequence that is human understandable. So this was the proposed model that I did. So this model consists of an encoder, which is the left one part, and a decoder, that is the right part. This encoder consists of n layers of this block. What happens is we pass in the review title as input to encoder, that is the input embedding, and that input embedding is then converted into a sequence of continuous representation Z, which is then inputted into the decoder part. The decoder part uses that sequence and converts it into another continuous sequence that is the human understandable review description. And we also pass in the input class. That is the input class is the class of the product. Like for example, whether that product is a cloth or a food item, that is passed into the decoder after converting it into a linear form, like one hot coding. So this model is auto-regressive at each step. Like, so for example, after taking one input, it will generate one output, and when generating the other output, it will also use the first output that it generated. So this was done because when creating a sentence, you need to understand what is written before it in order to make it a human readable. So how the training of this was done? So the training was done using the data set of reviews of product that are available on Amazon. It has 20K reviews for each product type. I used 5 product types. Those were clothes, food, Kindle books, baby products, and whiskey. So these 5 product types are quite different from each other, and this was done so that we can clearly understand what kind of product the review description is mentioning. The data set that, as I mentioned previously, included the review description, the title of the review, and the class of product, that is what kind of product it is. The final vocabulary of that review data set was 31,000 unique words, and I also padded the review description to 150 words. This was done according to the memory available to me when training the model. So how am I going to evaluate which description is correct and which description is not? So first one was the blue score. Blue score is a score for comparing a hypothesis of a text to one or more reference translation. In blue, what happens is we compare word to word and not compare the exact meaning and reasoning between the two sentences. So 2 sentences might have a high blue score when same words are being used, but it might not have a high score if we are using a different word that has the same meaning. Therefore, blue score was not a good approach, but I have mentioned it regardless because it helps to showcase that my model is not just rewriting the words of the review description. It is providing an innovative approach and is generating a review description that has the meaning, that has the understanding and meaning of the title, and not just reusing the words. Another score that I use for evaluating my approach is word score. Word score is actually using numerical values of similarity and dissimilarity subscores. and use that to give a score to the review description generated. There was one issue with this approach as well, is that I can only compare review description of the original product. Like for example, if I have a review of a product cloth, I can generate a review for cloth as well as product, but the available review that I have in the dataset is only of a particular type, that is of cloth. So this was the drawback of word score. And the final approach for that was human evaluation. It was much superior because the final requirement of this model was to make it so that the review description is undetectable whether it is a machine based or a human written one. For this, I created a online survey and that was shared with human raters, 20 human adult raters who had English as primary communication language, and they were asked to rate each description on the scale of 0 to 5 on the basis of coherence, relevance with title, and relevance to product type. So let's move on to the result. So for example, the title for I fed into my transformer was My Avenging Angel. This was the review title, and the original product type for this review title was Kindle books, and the actual description that the human had given for this in the dataset was, I've just found myself a new author, I love the book, I can't wait to get the next one, them coming. So this was the original, but my model generated a description for this title for this product type was, I love the series, I love Westmoreland Man, and I love the Westmoreland family love stories. I can't wait for the next one in the series. As you can see from this generated description, you can easily understand that the reviewer liked the product, and also that it is talking about a book. Similarly, if I change the input class to cloth and keep the title same, I will get a different generated description. I love this tunic and it is so comfortable. I mean, you can understand from the generated description that it is talking about the cloth. And the only change that I did was I changed the input class. So the model showed great intelligence and understanding how to show that, how to elaborate the title based on the product type that I'm offering it, and not just by using the title, it also uses the input class. So the different approaches, the different evaluation approaches that I mentioned earlier, they were giving me different scores. As you can see, for blue, I was getting.
Please conclude your results.
Yes. For blue, I was getting 26.48 using a baseline model and 16.05 in the proposed model. You can see that the blue score is low. And as I mentioned earlier, the blue score can be low because of using different words of having the same meaning. So this was not for the comparing purpose. This was only for showing that my model is working independently. Then the word score, I was getting a higher word score than the proposed model. Also the human evaluation that was achieved from the online survey, I was getting 3.8, and which was actually higher than the actual description, human written description on the database. That was getting 3.6. So the conclusion was that this paper presented a model capable of performing sentiment analysis on review title and then generating a review description that holds accountable for it. Even though I showcased this model using a review data set, it can be used for other similar tasks as well. Like for example, it can open up new important avenues for work on human AI interaction. Like the AI can elaborate the commands that is given by the human and generate a review description and like elaborate that without requiring any further information, and hence work on the generation process. This model can also help in creating a language translation task, which can use a single model to convert a sentence into another language based on the input class. And we don't have to create a separate model for each language like we are already doing. So this was the conclusion of my work. Any questions?
Any query?
Thank you.
Okay, Harshit. Okay, thank you, Harshit, for your presentations. Okay, Himdeep Balia, you are present. Okay, so its session has been over. Thank you very much, our key speaker, Mr. Kanish Kaur. Thank you all the participants. So now we can move for the next session. Okay. Now I hand over this session to Dr. Naveen Rawat for second session.
Center Coordinator, Dr. Aditi, are you here? I request all the people who are available on this link, they need to switch over on another session if they want to listen session 3. Session 3 has already started.
And I'll be very happy to clarify the doubts. Okay, so you have this ANN, and then after that you have this CNN. Okay, so the when we are talking about CNN, the additional thing in CNN is you have basically convolution operations. Okay, convolution plus neural network, which actually convolution works for feature extraction and then neural network for classifications. So that is being applied. So these simple concepts, okay, feature extractions and classification together in a same pipeline is being used for applications, okay, for any application. So let's consider simple applications like MNIST character dataset recognition, which is actually a very old problem of handwriting recognitions. We have so many handwritten digits, okay, some digits, handwritten digits, and the idea is given these kinds of images, can machine classify, okay, those image. So you are given this image, and then you have this different convolution operations, convolution, max pooling, activation functions, which will extract those features. And then after these features are extracted, then actually we use some multi-layer perceptrons, like a simple artificial neural network for classification. Okay, this is the architecture. And this was developed in 2000s. Okay, so that was LINET 5. That's a very old CNN architecture. But that time it was not so popular, or you can say that it was not so hit. Why? Because the hardware system was not available. Okay, so because it takes a lot of time for processing, and that time this hardware were not so available. But with the availability of this GPUs, okay, then this which actually process those operations, convolutions, or this neural network multi or back propagation, these kinds of processings are done in a parallel, and these the results could be done in very significant reductions. Okay, so that's how this people have jumped with this technology. When this software, these CNNs are available, this technology is available, and you have this hardware available, so they have started developing different kinds of architectures and different kinds of applications. Okay, for this deep learning based applications. So this has there are several applications which actually are used, okay, which are being used, involve this deep learning, which solves those automatic pattern recognition techniques. Okay, means you have the data, they analyze those patterns of those data, and they provide you these classifications or this clustering, which the results are actually the beyond this human's accuracy. Okay, so that's how actually this is becoming popular. So in the last few years, okay, deep learning solved the limitations of traditional machine learning algorithms. Okay, so what I mean is that when I say that machine learning algorithms were there, like support vector machine, random forest, and then when we are actually combining those feature extractions, classification together, so there is no point of handmade feature engineering. Okay, so these are combined together, and it produces better results than those traditional machine learning algorithms. and these are being used in many industries like hospitality, digital assistance, IoT, automotive, okay, everywhere, or sports, okay, everywhere. These are being used. Okay, so I'll show you several applications today. Okay, so which you'll see that these applications are actually very interesting, and you will be also interested in these kinds of evolutions. Okay, so just some statistics that there are, we see that 37% approximately of manufacturing companies, they incorporate deep learning into their products, okay, or services. So it could be, for example, your recommendation systems. It could be your Alexa kinds of speech recognitions, or for example, this whatever you give commands, you produce, you get, okay, or some other products. Okay, so many companies are actually being involved. 83% of cutting edge artificial intelligence technology essentials for their companies because it's growing rapidly and generating high revenue. Okay, so it's actually producing lots of results, good results. Okay, as per the research report of Grand View Research, in 2017, the market of deep learning technology in US is forecasted to reach $10.2 billion, okay, by this year of 2025. Okay, so let's see that how actually these deep learning industries are being involved. So we have this different cars like self-driving cars. You might have heard this visual recognitions, image colorizations, and then you have these pixel restorations. These are actually you will see in computer vision kinds of problems where you have this the cars are moving without any assistance of drivers, and you have these virtual assistants, fraud detections, automatic game planning. Okay, these kinds of software. Okay. Okay, so you have also several other kinds of applications, like for example, people are making some commenting on the social media website. So people want to know whether those comments are positive or negative, or is there any fake news or not. Okay, so this kind of applications are also involved. Okay, so then I will do also this. I'll show you some of these examples, like virtual assistants, language translation. So what if I'm speaking in English, so it will be translated in Hindi or in your own language. Okay, and then you will have this handwriting. What actually we are writing these days. So it could be also generated by machine. Machine will write in such a way that it will be like your handwriting. Okay, and then there are other applications like adding sounds. Okay, if you have some silent movies, if you want to give some sounds to those movies, so it's also possible. Okay, so let's see some of these applications. So I think this is very popular, that autonomous driving vehicles. Okay, so I think you are all aware of that. This the cars equipped with this sensors and cameras, and these are actually without any drivers, and they can move from one place to another place destinations, okay, without any support of humans. So it actually started in 2009-10 by this US defense agency DARPA. Okay, so there were actually several competitions before. Okay, so this, you see these cars, these wheels are moving, or this steerings are moving without any support. Okay, and you see this actually it's coming with this. For example, it could be in a hill area, or it could be in, for example, if I see it's in a city. Okay, so it actually understands where is actually the road or the traffic lines. Okay, it understands the scenario, okay, outside environment, and then it takes the decisions what to do, whether to move straight, left, or right. Okay, so not only this, it's actually also detects the humans, for example. So it stops when you see some pedestrians. Okay, so these all involved with this computer visions. Okay, so computer vision algorithms like human detections, road detections, text detections, this traffic line detections, understanding. Okay, all those. So yeah, there, and not only this, actually it works also in when the illumination is not enough. Okay, so for example, it's when there is a daytime it works, and then when it's actually, it is also moving when it's in the night time. Okay, so like that, actually it's there are several applications, and I was there. I think you might have also seen these kinds of applications where now robots are being used, okay, for many applications. Okay, so it could be in restaurants or airports or anywhere. So for example, I have seen this robot in this South Korea Incheon airport. Okay, so where this helps the customers to find the boarding gate, okay, or to find some locations where when the customer is lost. So it can interact with this robot, and then the robot actually will take them to their destinations. Okay, so there are actually many kinds of restaurant. The robots are there in the restaurants, for example, which actually takes the order. Okay, so last year, in 2 years back, actually in 2019, I was in a conference in US, and then I was surprised to see that actually there are many companies in US, they are involved with this autonomous driving vehicles. Okay, so they are using for different purpose, of course. So for example, you have Neuro, Whois, Didi, and other companies. Okay, so for example, this car is actually used for pizza delivery. Okay, so for example, if you order a pizza, and then this car will come without any driver, and then you can take pizza. Okay, so these are fully automatic. And there are actually some others like fire service, or others like rental cars or anything. Okay, so you may these kinds of cars are there in Western countries. So there are so much progress, okay, in this autonomous driving vehicles. Now in India also, many industries, they are looking for these kinds of vehicles in Indian roads, and many projects. Indian agencies, there are many government agencies, actually they have started giving the projects, and then many industries are also looking for collaborations with this academia for these kinds of projects. So moving ahead, so this deep learning is not only for this autonomous driving, these are also being used, for example, like face detections, face recognitions, automatically. Okay, so you will just put some cameras and in the door, okay, and then it will take the photos, and then it will see that which the person is genuine or not, or registered or not. Okay, so like this, so it will check. Okay, so you do not need to have some, for example, like biometric like fingerprint sensors, or like iris camera based sensors, which actually require some touching. Okay, so here you can do it. Yes, during this COVID time, actually it's very useful. Okay, so when you will have these kinds of camera which actually detect from long distance, and then it can from a distance, and it can identify whether the persons are genuine or fraud. But other places, like you have this fingerprints, iris data or palm. So these are actually, if you know, these are being used also for many biometric systems. So for example, we have this biometrics cards of Aadhaar, okay, where we have given our signatures, fingerprint, face data, iris data, okay, which actually will be used for security in future. Okay, so this machine learning could also help for to give you this some results, but deep learning has shown better results than this machine learning. So that's why these industries are actually jumping to this deep learning. Okay, and this deep learning is that I was saying, this is actually a combinations of feature extractions and classification together in the same pipeline. Okay, single pipeline. So not only this biometrics, we are also using this for sensors. Okay, people are actually using different kinds of sensors. For example, could be we are using in our lab. Okay, so one small lip motion kind of thing. Okay, so on top of it, if you make some gestures, okay, so these gestures will be understood by the system that okay, what is being explained, okay, by this speech and hearing impaired people. Okay, so they can make some gestures, okay, and then from those gestures, if the common people they do not understand, then we require some interface to translate those gestures to common language. Okay, so so we have used this kinds of a small device, lip motion device, which actually is in the top of the table, and the students are using some gestures, and from those gestures it understands that what is the meaning of these gestures. And not only this, okay, so you might have also heard of these kinds of the sensors. Okay, now people are using, for example, like a ring, band, or some shoes, okay, or some sensors, or for example this brain sensors, okay, so which you connect with your applications, okay, and then it will give you the results. Okay, so for example, if you want to see your mails or this weather forecast, everything you can see without any opening your mobiles. Okay, so by shoes you can understand, by wearing these kinds of shoes you would understand how many times you have taken steps, or how many jumps you have made. Okay, so like this, actually you do not need to depend always on the mobiles. Okay, so now you are having this mobiles with these different kinds of sensors like BP or all those stuffs, but many times you do not require, okay, those kinds of sensors. Okay, so I'll come back to this EEG, okay, this brain computer interface. That's actually one of the I would say this future technology being used in the industries. Okay, so you see here are actually many images, but these images are actually not real image. Okay, these are all fake images. These are generated by machine. Okay, so you see this these are so accurate, means realistic, that it's very difficult to tell that okay, these are fake images. So I think you might have also seen that 1 year back or a little more, that there were several social media sites like Facebook. There were some display pictures that where applications were coming that you could use those applications and you could see how old you look like when you become 60 years old or 70 years old. Okay, so those images were also generated by those machines, okay, using this technology. So this the synthetic data of this the images which actually look like real images are actually very many these are having many applications. Okay, so one of the application is, for example, when you are using machine learning, okay, for data, and this data are not sufficient, then you can use those synthetic data for your for your application, for your classifications. Okay. So, and then I show you this another recent work that, okay, so you give an image and this deep learning will actually tell you that, okay, so what are the details of this image. So it will tell you that, okay, well, this is the street, where is the vehicles, exactly. It will segment, okay, it will count also the number of vehicles, number of pedestrians, where he is in a pixel level, and then buildings, skies, everything. Okay, so it will understand. So and then also you have seen, for example, if you upload some images in some social media sites, and sometimes this generate the captions automatically. Okay, so for example, it will tell you that, okay, where you are, or if your friends are there in the photos. Okay, so these kinds of photo descriptions are also very popular. Okay, so which uses not only this convolution neural network, but also this recurrent neural network. Okay, so the time sequence data. So given some image, it will generate the textual informations, like if you want in English or in Bengali or whatever language, so automatically it will generate the captions. Okay, so you do not need to write anything. Okay, so it will give you several captions, and you just choose that whichever you feel that it's fit. Okay, so for example, here you see this more the detailed descriptions, like man in black shirt is playing guitar, construction worker is orange safety vest is working on road, two young girls are playing with Lego toys, boy is doing backflip on wakeboard. Okay, so much details are now possible with this deep learning technology, where the deep learning uses image-based features and those sequence-based features all together in same pipeline. Okay, you do not need to have separate blocks. This can be done together in a single block. Then you have this image language translations, where so for example, given an image, okay, with some text in some foreign language, okay, so which if you do not understand, and then if you can you use some softwares, and then it will extract those textual information and to convert them into your language, for example in Bengali or Tamil, and then it will give you the image, it will give you generate that image, okay, so which actually you are familiar with. So this the text will be in your language, but the image you can understand. Okay, so then actually it's convenient for the customer to understand the products. Okay.
Professor,
So nowadays,
you have 2 minutes left. Okay.
Sorry.
This is just a 2-minute warning. Okay, so you can conclude within the.
Oh, I have to conclude in 2 minutes.
Or maybe we'll give 3 more minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Is that okay?
Okay, 5 minutes. Yeah, I have actually many slides. I thought it will be 1:15, 12:15 to 1:15.
There are other speakers as well, so we are timing at half an hour.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let me move this quickly. So you have now this deep learning, which actually can generate those texts. Okay, that I was saying. This, you see, this text is written. These are actually generated by machines. Okay, so for example, this question answering, all those stuffs. Then this I just show you one video. Okay, so this is also an interesting. You see, this sounds are actually generated by machines. Okay, so these sounds are generated by machines. Okay. Okay, so this actually it's a silent movie. Okay, that I was telling. Okay, so this. So you have a silent movie video, and it generates. Okay, you see this. The sounds are generated which look very realistic. Okay. Okay, so that's I think you have understood. Now let me move to some future work. Okay, so we have actually some data sets available in our websites, okay, in our team's websites, for example, handwriting recognitions or EEG data or this sign language data. So which, if you are interested, you can download them and you can use for your purpose. Okay, so you know these data sets are actually one of the bottlenecks for machine learning. So you can use them. Okay. So thank you very much. And this some of these organizations which I am indebted, so they have provided supports in our research. So as I was saying, that this is actually my email ID and this is the website of my lab. So you may always connect here and see the things what we are doing. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Roy, for that wonderful talk. It was really nice to see some real applications of deep learning and technology and how it is going to impact our future. And hopefully this will touch each and every one of our lives very soon. So I would like to keep the floor open. If there is anybody who would like to ask a question or engage in a discussion, we'll have a couple of minutes of that. So if anybody has a question, they're free to turn on their mic and ask the question. Well, just to keep the discussion flowing, I think I would like to ask a question, or rather have a discussion, because I realized, with this image sensing, a lot of way the thing works is you have to have an extensive database where you can actually correlate the image to retrieve, valuable information for the next step. So, Professor, I would like to ask you on this front, what challenges are usually there, in creating such extensive databases for,
Right. Yes,
yeah.
I understand. Yes, as actually the question is very good. Okay, so this machine learning actually, when it people jump to deep learning, so they have realized this deep learning requires more data than machine learning. So whatever data was required for machine learning, that was not sufficient. Okay, they need more and more data, and data is actually very important, and it requires lots of for example, it requires a human involvement. Okay, so for example, the data this, for example, if I'm just saying character recognition, that this image is of what, it is A or B. For example, all this data actually requires these annotations. Okay, the labeling. Okay, so this every pixel wise labeling. So this is not so easy. Okay, so that requires, for example, lots of money also. For example, in abroad, so for these kinds of annotation, they pay a lot of money. For them, per hour they pay $10 or $20 kind of thing. Okay, for these kinds of annotation, and this is sometimes it's not feasible. So that's why people actually say that these days the data is the money. Okay, so if you have data, that means you are rich. Okay, so people are actually now involved with this data collections. So data for different purpose. It could be, for example, speech data. It could be handwritten data. It could be any application-wise data, whatever actually you are using. And these data are actually now being sold. Okay, so people are using this data for business. Okay, so that's why this data are actually very important. Sometimes people are using this data for business. And then now this technologies, the scientific community, they have understood that this data is actually very important, and without this data, this deep learning will not give you results. So now they are thinking of that how actually you can use those limited data for a good performance. So now the technology actually working in this domain, that okay, so can we use this small amount of data, and can we augment data like that? I was saying the synthetic data generation, that if I am having, for example, few thousand data, can I make it in millions of data, billions of data from those small data? Is it possible? So there you have these kinds of like this semi-supervised machine learning, these kinds of concepts are there. Also generative adversarial network, GAN, or cyclic GAN. There are many concepts are there. in the market, which actually are being used to augment the data or generate more data, which could be used. But sometimes you see this data are available, but this data will not be used for all the application. For example, if I'm saying in this healthcare, okay, healthcare sector, for example, if it's a heart related disease, so can I generate these kinds of data synthetically? It's not possible, okay, always. So how to generate these kinds of data is actually a challenge. So now people are actually thinking that, okay, so data augmentation is also not the objective. So now we have to think of an architecture which actually will require small data and produce better good results. So people have been working, okay. So these are some of the frontiers people have been working, okay. So
and sir, along these lines, for example, you were talking about the like the Indic languages, and with data that already exists, and people might have different interpretations of the languages and stuff. So is there is the government recognizing that aspect as to who will who will be the person, or who will be the committee that will actually, for the data that is already existing, who will be the right person who will give the interpretation and feed it in the computers, that this is what this what this means when such a script is written because we have so many languages. We our challenges in India, they are so vast. So
right, yes, actually that so you are right, okay. So you have so many applications or so many scripts, for example, if I'm talking, and then who will be having the rights to preserve the data and to distribute these kinds of, but actually now at present there's no policy like that, okay, from Indian government.
okay.
Many universities they are collecting themselves the data, and then they are using, sometimes they are distributing. Many industries are also doing like that, okay. So there is no policy, but from government side also there are some NICs, okay. So these kinds of agencies, they are also working with this data. So for example, we have applied for a project with the NIC that which actually works with this English, Hindi, this regional language based data. So I don't think there is any kind of data copyright, okay. So for from this government sites, they have kept, okay, or they have made. But okay, this actually will be exploited, okay, later. Means when you will there will be lots of data sets, and then people starts misusing, then I feel there will be some kinds of policy people will generate. Actually, we learn when there are actually some misuse, okay. So that's how we have.
Right. Well, I think we should all thank Professor Roy again. Thank you so much for that wonderful explanation and a wonderful talk. And thank you so much for your time. And I would like to continue and invite the first paper, which is on computer vision based mouse with color detection technique, from the authors Prajwal Dandotia and Ghazla Ansari. Are they here?
Yes, sir. I'm
Okay.
here, Prajwal.
Yeah. So please go ahead and share your screen, and you can start your presentation. And it will be timed at 7 minutes with a couple of minutes for discussion as well.
Okay. So my screen is visible. Hello.
Yes. Yes. You're audible. Yes.
My screen is visible.
Check.
Yes, sir. Visible now.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Prajwal Dandotia, and I am a student of Electronics and Communication Engineering Department from SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Delhi NCR campus. So this was my major project in my final year, and I have done research on this under the guidance of Ghazala Ansari, who is an assistant professor at Electronics and Communication Engineering Department, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Delhi NCR campus. So through this presentation, I'm going to explain about my research on.
Dandotia ji, your voice is not clear, please.
Hello.
Sir, your voice is not clear.
Voice is not clear. Now it's clear. Hello.
Is it okay now?
Okay. So through this presentation, I'm going to explain you about my research on computer vision based mouse with color detection technique. So these were the outlines that I'm going to discuss through this presentation. First, I will discuss about the objective. Then I will discuss about the introduction, then originality, then computer vision, then OpenCP, then methodology, then block diagram, then requirement of hardware and software, then about advantages, and then about results, and what are the conclusion and references. So now I will tell you about the objective of our project, of our research. So the main objective of our research computer vision based mouse with color detection technique is to control the mouse cursor on our computer screen based on the color detected by using the webcam of our computer. So here we have used 4 different color markers to perform 4 different functionalities of a mouse. First is yellow color marker for moving the mouse cursor on our screen, and a green color marker for the functioning of left click of a mouse, and a blue color marker for the functioning of right click, and a red color marker for the functioning of double clicking of left mouse button. So next is about introduction. So as computer technology continues to develop and people having smaller and smaller electronic devices, so by recognizing the importance of human computer interaction, computer vision, object detection, activity recognition, and color recognition, so in our research we have used a novel approach to design a computer vision based mouse with a color detection technique that uses the webcam installed in our computer to perform the various mouse functionalities according to the assigned color marker. So next is about originality. What in original we have used in our research? We have used a computer vision technology and an object tracking, a color recognition technique, image thresholding technique, and 4 different color markers as mentioned in previous slides, and a color models which are RGB color model, red, green, blue, and HSV color model, hue saturation value. So next is about telling computer vision. So computer vision is nothing but an automation of such a visual system that can obtain high level understanding of the environment from digital images and videos. And the main purpose of using computer vision is to understand the content of the images. It basically extracts the description from the pictures, which may be an object, a text description, and a 3-dimensional model, and so on. So following are some of the problems that have been resolved by using the computer vision algorithm. And the first one is about object recognition and classification. So by using computer vision, we can easily classify the different objects as mentioned in the picture. That how we can detect the object and classify among them. So next is about pose estimation. So we can also estimate the pose of an object by using the computer vision as mentioned in the picture. So next is about optical character recognition. We can also recognize the characters displayed or printed on a text, and usually to make them readable image access by using the computer vision. Facial recognition problem is also resolved by using computer vision, and by this we can easily identify a person from a digital image or from a video. And next is about the motion tracking. Motion tracking is also motion tracking is basically a process where an image sequence is analyzed to produce an estimate of the velocity of the different object in the image or in a 3-dimensional scene. So this problem is also resolved by computer vision. And next is about scene reconstruction. So the computer vision is also helps to compute a 3-dimensional model of the scene. By using computer vision, we can also reconstruct the lost or deteriorated part of the images by using the image restoration process in the computer vision. So now I will tell you about the OpenCV. So what is the importance of OpenCV in our project? So OpenCV is basically a tool used for computer vision, and it stands for Open Source Computer Vision Library, which is widely used for image recognition or identification. it basically enables the function for the real-time computer vision. And following are some of the reasons that for using the OpenCV tool. Because OpenCV tool is available for free of cost, and this library, this OpenCV library is written in C programming, so it is quite faster than other libraries, and it requires less RAM, and memory memory requirement may be of 60 to 70 MB, which is very less. It is also a portable. It is as portable as computer vision and can run on any device that can run on C. So next is about methodology approach we have used in our research. So in this, so firstly it will acquire the image by image acquisition using the web camera of our computer. Then image acquisition is basically a digital representation of the picture that has been captured by the webcam. Then it is processed to the image preparation, where it removes the noise from the images and make the image clear and process to the color recognition text. So here in the color recognition section, it basically captures the color of the object that has been captured using the webcam. Then at marker identification, basically after color recognition, it identify the marker, and then marker motion tracking. Then it will process to the marker motion tracking. There it will track the object where it is moving along the screen. Then after all these recognition, and finally it will control the cursor as the functions provided by us for the color marker. So this was the block diagram, which is easy to understand our research. And first, the webcam installed in our computer will capture the real-time videos, and then this captured image will be flipped because by default computer has a possibility that it shows the mirror image of the captured image. So to avoid this problem, we have used the flipping function so that there will not be any problem while doing marker motion operation.
Prajwal, you have 2 minutes remaining, okay?
Okay, then I will move fast forward. Then we prepare the image, and then after that we detect the color markers from the individual frame, and then we'll perform different mouse actions as assigned by us for the color marker operation by the detection from the webcam. So these were the requirement of hardware and software. We have used Python 3 software, OpenCV library, webcam install, and 4 different color markers as mentioned in previous slides. So these were the advantage. The most important advantages of this research was it is basically contactless human-computer interaction, and it provides more flexibility, and it also reduces hardware cost of the computer by limiting the use of the physical mouse, and it is very convenient for the people those who are physically challenged. So we have successfully implemented computer vision technology in our research by using the webcam of our computer, and so following are the functions that we have performed using the color marker operation. So this is this picture shows the yellow color marker operation, that how the cursor is moving by using the yellow color marker, and this shows the functioning of left click by using a green color marker, how we have performed on the computer screen. And here we have used blue color marker for the functioning of right click of a function, that you can see from the picture how we have performed the right click functioning of the color marker in our project. And we have used red color marker for the functioning of double clicking of left mouse button as mentioned in the picture. So as a conclusion, we have developed a system to perform the different functionality of our physical mouse by using a real-time camera. So this can be useful in presentation and to reduce workspace. And computers which have webcam as their integral part can eliminate the use of physical mouse, which also reduces the cost of a computer. And this type of proposed system will lead to an era of contactless human-computer interactions. So these were the references I have used in my research. Thank you. If you have any questions, then you can ask.
Thank you, Prajwal. If anybody has any questions, they have 1 minute, so please go ahead. Well, if not, let's thank Prajwal for the presentation. Let's move on to the next paper. It is on hairstyle recommendation for men.
Yeah. Can I stop sharing?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you.
And so it was a hairstyle recommendation for men using deep learning by Akshit Agarwal. Do we have Akshit Agarwal present with us?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, please go ahead and share your screen, and you may start your presentation.
Is it visible now?
Yeah, it's coming up online. Yes.
Okay. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Akshit Agarwal from GP University of Information Technology, Vaknaghat. Today, I'm going to present a paper on hairstyle recommendation for man using deep learning. So, every year, man spends so much amount of money on their personality because everyone wants to look attractive. And one of the chief amount goes on their hairstyle. The hairstyle can express the overall attitude, behavior, self-confidence. So that's why hairstyles become one of the major components of our personality. So this research used the CNN algorithm and transformer learning model. The proposed study recommends the suitable hairstyle according to the shape of face. So the main purpose of this study is to recommend the hairstyle to the man according to their face shape. Like if your face shape is square or oval and so on, then what kind of hairstyle should you wear? So we try to give out the answer to these questions. And second purpose of this study is to minimize the complexity of proposed model, that is HRMDL, that is hairstyle recommendation man using deep learning system. So now I'm coming to the methodology of this proposed HRMDL technique. So a survey was conducted among 40 students of GP University, India. So these are the methodology which I discussed through the flow chart. So for this purpose, first of all, I just collect the data set of image. So the data set of image are collected from various Google resource. The collected data set are in the form of RGB image, the three channel image. So our first task is to convert this 3 channel into the 2 channel image, and then we try to remove some of the anomalies or noise from the image and to detect the sharp edges of the image. So we apply the filtration technique, and once we have done with that, we go towards the training with CNN algorithm. We all know that CNN algorithm is responsible for extracting the feature of an image, and once we have done with that, we go towards the recommendation or minimization purpose of the complexity through the tree from structure, which we'll discuss later. So our first task is RGB to binary conversion. So you all know that our RGB image is made of 3 components, that is R, G, and B, that is red, green, and blue. So our first task is to convert this RGB to grayscale or the binary conversion. We applied simple mathematical approach to convert this RGB image to grayscale image. Once we have complete that, we go towards the image sharpening filter. So this is responsible for detecting the fine edges of an image. Because this is responsible, this is important because if we find out the edges of image, then it is very convenient for predict the category of shape. It's either square, oval, and so on. So it can be easily calculated using this mathematical approach, taking consideration into the x and y component of or the horizontal vertical component of a next as well as the present value using the partial derivative method. And once we have done with that, we go to our main portion of proposed CNN algorithm. We all know that CNN algorithm is, as I already mentioned, that it useful for extracting the feature of image, and it also helpful for color, sharp, and edge-based filtering. So which can be achieved with the help of its layer. So the first proposed layer is convolutional 2D or the con 2D layer. So this layer is helpful for producing the kernel or the producing a tensor of output, or which is useful for checking the number of filters in an image. And once we have done with that, we go towards the pooling layer. Pooling layer is helpful for reducing the dimensionality of an image without losing any important feature of an image. You can see on the slide. And once we have done with that, we go towards the flatten layer, which flats our output or which flats the layer and which generates a feature map, which is one of the main tasks of the CNN algorithm, and which can be achieved by with the convolution of convolutional 2D layer as well as the pooling layer. And we got a feature matrix, you can see here. And once we have done with that, we do the training with LXN model. This is an inbuilt model in deep learning. So we generally import this model in our system. And you all know that the LXN model is a 8-layer deep convolutional network model, which consists of 5 convolutional layers as well as the 3 fully connected layer, which is called a dense layer. And each 5 convolutional layer, you can see that there is a pooling layer at each layer. The dimensionality of the image is reduced, and once we apply the 5 convolutional layer, we go towards the dense layer, that is 3 fully connected layer. And dense layer is helpful for establishing a strong network between each component, between each component of image or each component of neurons. At the end of last dense layer, there is only one neuron, and which is responsible for predicting the category of image, that is face of image, that is either oval, rectangles, circular, diamond, triangle, and so on. So after that, we got an accuracy, which we'll discuss later. So as I mentioned earlier, like I use a tree form recommendation to minimize the complexity of our model. So when our model get trained, so we generally shift our model towards the face shape. Like if the face shape is square, then it is recommended that the high fade cut quick style is recommended. And in that way, there are 6 different face shapes. And if the model is trained with rectangle or oval, then it will give the corresponding face shape value or the hairstyle recommendation. So after that, we have done with that. Now, these are the key findings. So for this purpose, I trained my model with the 2 variations. The first variation you can see on the slide, that is when my 80% data is reserved from training perspective and 20% data is reserved from testing perspective. You can see the value performance parameter. And after that, I trained the similar model when my 70% data is reserved from training and 30% data reserved from testing purpose. You can compare the accuracy prediction here, and these are the key findings when when the data is reserved, 80% is reserved from training and 20% reserved for testing. So you can see that the accuracy is approximately 79.98%. So you say that it's a quite good accuracy. It tells about your accurateness of your model. Then we calculate the sensitivity of your model, which tells about the true case, which is actually predicted. That is 87.56. It's quite high and good prediction. And after that, we calculate the specificity. So it comes out to be 78.82%. And after that, we calculate the error, that is quite 20.02%. But when we calculate the F1 score value, you can see that that is 82.96%, which is the average of sensitivity and specificity, and which shows that the model is recommended a good prediction. Or now at last, we want to say that this model identify the shape of face, and on the behalf of shape of face, it will recommend the proposed hairstyle. And you know that, as I mentioned earlier, that I want to apply this model in very less time, so it computes a recommendation very less time. The complexity of this model is low due to our tree form structure. And now I suppose that the person who are very confusing regarding which hairstyle should they wear, because there's a rigid question among all the man regarding what should they adopt, what should they, what kind of hairstyle should they wear. Now I might be guess that or suppose that this research is beneficial for those men who always get confused regarding their hairstyle. What should they choose? So thank you.
Thank you, Akshit, for that lovely talk. You finished right on time. If there are any questions, then please, the floor is open for anybody who would like to ask Akshit any question regarding his work. It's always a sensitive topic, telling somebody to do and be in a certain way when they don't know what to do. So, yeah, Ashwini, go ahead.
Afternoon, sir. Actually, that's a good one you just present here. Very good thing is actually my field is security, so I want to know if the data is hacked by anyone. So maybe there are the changes in the personality too. The person is don't want to keep their hairs, but maybe it will be goes out. So what do you think about in future how you implement it? Because the person, if the application is running on the real environment and in the distributed system,
okay.
So I think it's a challenge you also keep in your mind that the data will be leaked out or some changes be found in the data. So
yeah, I agree that the data should be kept. So in future work, I try to work on this field more and more so that I can save my data. And various, I'm not much know about the networking, the cryptography technique. The cryptography technique somewhere reserve the data or save the data from the unauthorized or illegal access. But in future work, I try to implement those algorithms so that I can prevent my data, so that it can be safe. But right now, this was only the concerning topic.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Shall I stop presenting?
Yeah, please do. Thank you so much, Akshit, for the lovely presentation. Next up, we have another presentation coming up titled Embedded Vision Application Using Fast Integral Image Computing. And the presenters are Shivani Chaudhary, Rishi Kumar Sharma, and Sunil Kumar. So I would invite them to share their screen and start the presentation.
It is visible, sir.
Let me check you.
Very good afternoon to everyone. Myself Shivani. I am assistant professor in Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering in Quantum University, Roorkee. And today my paper presentation topic is Embedded Vision Application Using Fast Integral Image Computing. A summed area table is a data structure and algorithm for quickly and efficiently generating the sum of value, and this is the fast integral image and which we are using in embedded vision application. So in my paper presentation, the main content are introduction about the first integral computing and experimental procedure, result and discussion, conclusion and references. So first we are discuss about the introduction of fast integral image computing. So basically a summed area table is a data structure and algorithm for quickly and efficiently generating the sum of values in a rectangular subset of a grid. In the image processing domain, it is also known as integral image. So it was introduced to computer graphics in 1984 by Frank Crowe for use with MIPMAPs. In computer vision, it was popularized by Lewis and then given the same name integral images and prominently used within the Valla-Jones object detection framework in 2001. So basically, in nowadays, the integral image computing is a very more attractive for detecting the object, and it is using for like your face detection technique, your biomedical system, for automotive systems, and some other portable system. So the integral image is used as calculating the average.
Shivani, we are still only at your first screen, okay? So we are not able to go through the entire presentation. So
Okay, so just wait a minute. Sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, you can make it to full
I have
screen.
a network issue, sir. Yeah. I am just sharing.
Okay.
It is visible,
Yes.
sir?
It's visible, then you can make it full screen if that works better for all of us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, definitely, sir. Definitely. So, okay, Naveen, sir, it is visible?
Yeah, it's visible. Yes. Continue, please.
Okay.
Continue.
So basically, the use for integral image to calculate the average intensity within a given image, we would want to use